Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 3 hours, along with Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning. Bruce is in the chat. Spence is out of town. Maybe join later.
Nick is picking apples.
Nick is picking up apples. He said he may call in. It'll be interesting if he calls in on his phone.
That's kind of an insult to injury to have Nick picking up apples, isn't it?
I know. We'll explain why in a minute. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy. And we're trying something new. If you click on the Watch Live, you can see us, but you can't hear us. The audio is not getting to Wirecast. I'm trying to do it both ways, and I don't know.
So we are or are not being able to be heard in Bamboozer.
No, in Bamboozer it's fine.
Okay, so Tim, you can hear us okay, I hope.
I mean, I'm doing everything else the normal way. Yeah, it's getting out. It's fine.
All right. Well, that's a good thing.
But on,
audio is not important, as Rob says.
Well, in my opinion, it is. You want to argue it?
I don't give a
I hope not.
I'm retiring from the consulting business.
But yeah, we're trying to go to be in few places at the same time. And I thought I tried it yesterday and it worked, but not knowing how Wirecast exactly works, I don't know what to do about it. I can see the picture.
You're getting there.
Yeah, slowly. You know, we're there's no rush. And Steve, why are you here on the chat but not on Computers 2K Voice? Something cat got his voice. No, he doesn't have a cat. Seems like nobody wants to join with. Is the sound really that bad that you don't want to be a part of this?
Where is the sound bad?
Where's the sound? What?
I don't hear any sound bad.
I mean, everybody is on chat like they don't want to be heard.
It's early.
People
aren't waking up yet. It's only 2 o'clock in the UK. Steve is waking up.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's what it is. And Steve, I'm sorry. I know you're watching your mailbox. It still did not leave here. Anyway. Anything you want to talk about while I can go and look at the Wirecast machine? Well, there's Spence in chat. You see, everybody's in chat. Maybe we should change the show to not a video, and not audio, just
a chat show.
A chat show. Then everybody's there.
Wah.
Even Andrew is up. No, well, that doesn't mean that he's up.
No, he's probably up. He gets up early.
Let's see.
I apologize up front. I have had the worst time this week following up with people who have asked me questions and touched base with me. So if you're listening and sent me a question and I haven't answered, you might ought to send it again because it may have gotten lost. It has been one of those weeks.
Mike, you're talking about audio. Pandora has been the standard for Internet radio since it launched in 2000. And just announced the appointment of a new CEO, Brian McAndrews. They claim they're not worried about Apple, but iTunes' massive user base, 575 million, content deals, and cheaper pricing options should give them a legitimate reason for concern. Can Pandora survive iTunes Radio? Do a la carte options like Spotify make any internet radio service irrelevant? I know that iTunes Radio has been working hard on their offering and what they're going to give you from the backside, and how they're being so particular about what they're asking you. I mean, we are on iTunes Radio, and I know I cannot hear it on a computer. I can hear Pandora on a computer. I can hear Spotify on a computer. But in order to have iTunes, you have to have iTunes Radio. You have to have iTunes, I hear. It's not like you're going to a website. So I don't know how that is a competition, but what do you think? Is it something that can really compete with all these outfits? Did you hear anything about it?
I really don't pay a lot of attention to it, because if you think about it, back in the old days, remember whenever there were 3 television stations in each market, the idea of cable television came along, bringing in all these outside signals. Oh, there's just no need for that. We don't need all those channels. There's not enough programming to go around. People can't watch but one channel at a time. I don't think there's any limit to the number of competitors that are going to become available to media sources. In the right situation, media is a license to print money. It's an annuity. In other situations, it's the best way to throw money down a rat hole. The problem that I run into is I don't really care about music services. I haven't listened to Spotify for 10 minutes. The Pandora, I just don't care about it. I mean, my musical tastes are not really addressed by any of these sources. There's just not much there for me. And I have a very extensive music library. If I want to listen to music, why would I just not put in exactly what I want to hear when I want to hear it? I don't get it. I guess there's a laziness component for it. You're riding in the car, you want to listen to something, you put it on to have noise in the background. Maybe that means that my listening is more deliberate. I like listening to certain podcasts, not very many of them. I prefer internet broadcasts. And I guess it's a sign of the times. At certain points, I just make sure that it's completely quiet in the car because I don't want to hear anything. I want to think about things.
Well, but it's going to get to the point where music and such is going to be. The internet is going to be playing a big part of it. Are you saying that you haven't been listening? I know you're into music.
I am. I used to be, not so much anymore.
Well, where do you do most of your music listening? On the radio?
I rarely listen to music anymore.
All right, so I guess I cannot ask that question.
You can ask any question you want.
Fine, be like that.
My music listening now consists of a couple of things. One is that, you know how sometimes you'll get a song or a group or something stuck in your head. You'll go put it on and let it play over and over and over again. That still happens to me on occasion, but there are groups that people would laugh at if they knew who they were, primarily because people have not heard them, have not listened to them critically, don't have an appreciation for the technology that may have gone into the production of the music. That's okay. We all have our things. I mean, even in our hangouts with these young kids, when they want to talk about the Foo Fighters and the whomevers, that's of zero interest to me. Modern media outlets, the satellite channels, the Pandoras, they're going to play stuff that the the people who are dead in the middle of that market, the people who are in the spending public, they're going to play what they want to hear. That's not generally what you and I want to hear. I'm kind of in a position like you are. I mean, you will occasionally play music from the old country that no one here's ever heard of. And no one gets excited about it like you do because they don't have the life experience associated with the music to keep them excited and entertained about it. And I deal with that very same sort of thing. I could sit here and for the next 3 hours play music cuts for you that I absolutely love. And for the most part of them, you'd kind of, really? What, you like that? But a lot of music has to do not so much with how good the song is. It's not whether it was well recorded. It's what life happening you associated with that song at the time. If it were a time in life, things were simple, life was good, money was easy, everybody was healthy. A song comes on, maybe you like to dance, maybe you were meeting a special person or something. It's the life experience that goes along with the music that
right. It's what it brings
fixes
back. Yeah.
that meaning to you, that causes you to really like that song. And let's see if I can give you an example here since you asked.
I knew I was going to get something.
Well, you didn't really, but you never can tell.
I have to agree as well. Music is very associative, isn't it?
Hello, Steve.
It's exactly right. And it will be interesting for Steve to be here because he may have never heard of a couple of these songs.
Probably not, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. A piece of music comes on, and if there is such a thing as a soul, the old saying, music stirs the soul, absolutely true. I couldn't agree more.
Let's take this song, for example. This song was recorded in a little tiny, as we say, toilet recording studio in Greenville, North Carolina, back in the 60s by a bunch of guys who were in a local band, and they just happened to hit gold whenever they recorded this record. Might as well have been recorded in a radio station. The quality's just not there. This is not a master recording in the sense of Beatles, Rolling Stones, and so forth. This is Girl Watcher from The Occasions.
I'm a girl watcher. I'm a girl watcher. Watching girls go by. My. I'm a girl watcher.
Does that ring a bell?
Sure.
Terribly recorded song. Terribly, but great guys. I mean, the lead singer's a buddy of mine. I love the song to death. But if these young kids, you play that song for them and they'll just kind of roll their eyes and say, you listen to something like that?
You're just too old.
You're just too old.
That's what most people... the kind of music I like, which predominantly is from the 80s, if anyone... if I sort of tapping my hand to it or a foot or whatever, anyone that doesn't know me well would look at me and go, wow, are you listening to that and think it's good? And I think exactly the same of them when they're listening to something more modern and they think it's good. I think, are you kidding me?
And it's not so much the music, it's the life that went along with the music. Let me give you another good example, and this one you'll particularly appreciate. Here is a song that was recorded. It was actually in a decent recording studio. It was done on the cheap. It was $50 to record the song. It was done in one take. I mean, they recorded it. They wanted to do it again. They said, wait a minute, who's paying for this session? And the guy who booked them in the studio had left, which left these young 19, 18, 17-year-old kids sitting there getting hung with a recording studio bill. They kind of stuck their pockets, hands in their pockets, working together, trying to find out who had any money. And between them, they came up with $50. So they paid the guy at the recording studio, and they left. And that all happened. I mean, this is a 3-minute deal. This all happened in 3 minutes. And the song is still one of the classics of today. The quality of the recording done with one microphone, hanging overhead, terrible.
Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House? Sure. Come on in.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when Jack was here.
Yep. I mean, that song is now 50 years old.
For those of you who are only listening to this and aren't watching the video, Mike's face when that began to play, it would just said it all. The sheer enjoyment just at the beginning of that. You could see it was it wasn't done to make money. It was done because they wanted to do it, and they were having a blast, having a fantastic time, and that it just comes across with the music, and it just makes you smile. And if you look back at the video, where we're on 16 and a half minutes, and you look at Mike's face, and that just says it all.
What did I do with my face? You got to tell me now.
Well, it was just like a beam. It's like a beam coming out saying, these guys are really having fun, and I love this song.
And that's what music does to you. And all that, what does that have to do with anything? What it has to do with, Bruce says, I love Pandora. I'm a Pandora One paid subscriber, 196K built quality stream with no commercials. That's great. More power to you. I'll give you an example. I have XM radio, a couple of XM radio receivers. I get emails all the time. Your radio is on free for the next 2 weeks. I don't bother. It just doesn't do anything for me. That's not should not in any way be considered a criticism.
I don't think radio means the same nowadays as what it meant years ago, when it was very much a community-orientated thing. People got involved, and they felt like it was part and parcel of their environment. Nowadays, it's just programmed rubbish. They go, that was for you.
But see, is that really true, though, Steve? Because you and I call it rubbish because we don't relate to it or have the life experiences. But the people, and I watch this because I used to be in the music business, and the people, the young'uns, they have kind of the same experiences that we do. They are relating the same things that we do, just like you said for the 80s. And one of the reasons that I quit listening to music was because of the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. But you have the life experiences. But when talking about music, and I guess we're talking about this is a technology show. We're talking about the technology of music. Charles in there made the comment, Shake a Tail Feather. Believe it or not, Shake a Tail Feather, which was done by James and Bobby Purify, is for some reason one of the songs that I don't have in my library. I don't know why, I just don't. And so with technology available, I click on YouTube. So, I mean, big deal, right? I mean, it was a good song back in its day. A lot of people had a lot of fun dancing around and doing other things you shouldn't be doing to that song.
It's the sort of thing that I can only dream about doing now. It's the older I get, the more pleasurable it is to actually have a nice sit down.
I feel
sad,
your
isn't
pain.
it?
I feel your
dear.
pain. Well, I thought you were going to say a bowel movement, but anyway.
Oh, no, a nice sit down and relax.
Oh, okay.
Something, put your feet up and just have a sit down.
I mean, I listen to this kind of music, and it reminds me of Friday night. It's going out
with your friends.
Yeah,
just chilling out and sort of relaxing after a hard week's work.
It brings something. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But
if you can, in every piece of music will relate to something that you can remember in your life. More often than not, hopefully, it's nice things to remember, but there equally are sometimes where it's a sad memory. But the fact is, it's still a memory. You only need to hear 2 or 3 bars, and that's it. That memory's straight back in there as if it happened yesterday.
Now let's go back to the article, though.
Oh, there was an article.
Let me play one more first.
Okay, let him play one more.
Play one more. Here's a song that I'm going to play that no one here has ever heard of. I mean, you're going to listen to it. It's from 1970. It was recorded, I think, over maybe in Fayetteville or somewhere. It was a regional hit. It almost became a national hit by a group from Pembroke, North Carolina called Lumbee. They're all Lumbee Indians, and this was a song that was very popular at the time. And when you listen to it now, you'll hold your nose, say, "What is that garbage?" But anyway, here it is.
I've been told that the streets are going to heaven. The angels sing when you're resting there in heaven. Oh, there'll never be a better place.
So,
you're right. I never heard it.
Of course you never heard of it. It was a regional hit. You weren't even here at the time.
That's right.
But the people in the area in our radio station, that was a regional hit. We played it, and it was a very, very popular record. So anyway, getting back to the article.
So, do you think that from Steve? Did you ever listen to iTunes Radio?
I've never ever had anything Apple or iTunes.
Mike, did you?
No.
All right. So, anybody on the chat? Actually,
I've listened to Pandora and Spotify.
Yeah,
but not
right. Those
iTunes.
are the two. But the whole thing about the article is that it's going to give them. So, Andrew, do you think that iTunes Radio can replace Pandora or Spotify? I haven't listened to it either. Why doesn't Andrew call in? I don't know.
He's not sober.
He's too shy, I know, but he
yet.
finally does it.
He had a rough night last night.
We just had to kind of
I've recently
bring him into it.
got a DAB radio, digital audio broadcast radio, and the audio quality is brilliant. I don't live in a very good FM area or VHF area, whatever you want to call it, because there's lots of hills around. So I've got a DAB radio now, and fallen in love with two particular stations actually. One's called Absolute 80s, and guess what? They just play music from the 80s. And another one is basically from the group of companies called Absolute Radio, and they've also got another one called Absolute 90s, where they play just 90s music. And it is brilliant because you just turn it on and that's all you get, and there's very little talk, there's just music, and it's really is amazing. And I'm loving it.
There he is.
Here is, for example, you talk about the music of the 80s. The music of the 80s were very much hit and miss for me. I actually have a CD called Pure 80s, which was some of the biggest songs of the 80s. I don't know if it was early or late, but there are songs like this one.
Eurythmics. Sweet dreams are made of this.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Oh,
come
song.
on.
Great song. But then to show the difference in styles and what people like, I love this song.
Come on, Eileen. Dexys Midnight Lovers.
I believe he just died, by the way.
I need to go on one of these quiz shows. I think I could probably do quite well on 80s music.
All right,
I'm sure you
here we
will.
go.
I'm a Chameleon with George and Loaf in it. Oh, that's a hard one. I know it. Duran.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Duran, but
Hungry
I
Like
can't
a
remember
Wolf.
the title.
Hungry
Like a Wolf. Hungry, that's the... Well, I said I should be on a music quiz, I didn't actually mean to do it during
We'll get
the show.
to the quiz later. We'll get to the quiz later on.
All right.
Good
Andrew.
morning.
Good morning.
Oh, dear, you sound
like
rough,
crap.
Andrew.
Not a very good morning for me, but it's a
No,
morning.
it definitely doesn't sound that way.
Oh.
Wah.
Did you have a rough night?
Andrew had a lot of fun last night.
He was babysitting.
Awesome.
Now I'm feeling it this morning. Kirk was in town. Kirk from This Week in Radio Tech was in town, so we went out for a couple cocktails last night.
Couple.
Well, quite a few. And then I drank on the train. And I got yelled at by the conductor.
Oh, dear.
What did he yell at you for?
Apparently, you're not allowed to drink on the train anymore between the hours of 10 and 3 a.m., 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
And yet they sold you the beer.
And yet they sell you the beer right before you get on the train.
Sound like government.
I
to
told
me.
Is that-
I don't like your rule, therefore I will not follow it. And I just continued drinking, and he just walked away.
Is that where you called in from?
In the Google Hangout, no, I was on the train going into the city. That was earlier.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were in a vehicle of some sort.
Yeah, I was on
So, tell us about iTunes Radio. What?
You can switch now, Amnon.
No, I don't want to.
I want you to.
Okay. What is it about iTunes Radio that could do something to give Pandora and Spotify a run for their money?
It's built in. I mean, it comes with every iPhone, so they automatically have an advantage because it's installed on every iPhone.
Okay, so who was it in the chat that said, yeah, but will it work through Tim's? Tim says, can you listen to iTunes Radio on Android?
No.
You can with Pandora.
Yeah, but that's not the point of it. This is, again, the Apple ecosystem. Once you're invested in the Apple ecosystem, you're invested in the Apple ecosystem. So you're less likely to... I mean, think about how many people do not know what a Pandora is or do not know what Spotify is that have iPhones. I mean, I could tell you, it's probably the
But hold on a second. A lot of restaurants and all kind of establishments use one or the other and pay them.
Sure.
Are they going to be able to do the same thing with iTunes Radio?
I don't know about restaurants, but you can pay. You could pay for commercial-free iTunes Radio. If you pay for iMatch, which is $20 a year, anybody that uses iTunes for their MP3s, I would recommend getting the iMatch service because they not only back it up on the cloud, they also match whatever song you have. They give you a higher bit rate if it's tagged properly. And most of the time, it's really good at catching it. So you go from 128K or 64K in some cases, they'll upgrade you to 320. But with iTunes Radio, the point is, I mean, it's a direct competitor to Pandora. But if you're using iTunes for music, which most people are because it's the number one downloadable music service, you're going to be more likely to use iTunes Radio because you're already invested into the ecosystem.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to see this huge swing in percentage. Pandora has name recognition, so does Spotify. But I think for a lot of people, iTunes Radio's, it's going to be a good Pandora competitor.
All right. I mean, it's just sort of like a shame that here we are on iTunes Radio, and I can't even hear to see what it sounds like.
Well, no. What we are on is different than this iTunes Radio. Now they're calling it iTunes Internet. What we knew as iTunes Radio, what we broadcast on and live radio stations are on, that's iTunes Internet. It's no longer iTunes Radio.
So all these things with that spreadsheet and the art and the thing, this is iTunes Internet?
Yes. If you go into iTunes,
I see. That's the whole thing. I don't have iTunes. I don't want to install it.
You're not going to get to hear it then.
Okay. That you see, that is what I'm wondering. that it's not just going to the web somewhere to hear it. You have to have, well, the truth is Spotify needs its own program, don't they?
Yeah, you need to run their own program on the desktop and on the phone.
Yeah.
I don't even know
iTunes,
if I have iTunes.
What they used to call iTunes Radio, which is now iTunes Internet. I don't think there's many people that use it, but I just think it's another resource to put your content on. There's thousands of radio stations on there. I mean, literally thousands. All over the world are on there. It's just another thing, in your promo say, hey, and also catch us on iTunes Radio,
Mm-hmm.
I do have iTunes, and every time I open it, it wants me to download a new version.
Well, they do have newer versions than I think.
Well, I didn't use the last one. Why do I need to don't use the next one? Let's see here. So if you go in here to Internet, here's radio. There's a radio tab.
And then there's an Internet tab next to it.
Not on this one. Maybe it's the new version. It's probably have to have the new version.
Yeah, they changed it for the latest one.
Yeah. Well, let's update it and see what it does. If it blows up, what the heck? Won't be the first time.
No, Mike, don't do that.
Too late.
Uh-oh.
11.1 we're going to download.
Is it done?
That was distorting horribly.
Really?
Get a Mac?
No, Alan, I don't open it very often. I don't use it, and primarily because I don't use it.
No, I'm not going to ask Andrew to do it now. He may not be up for it.
No,
what do you want me to do?
But what we've talked about in the past, Andrew agrees, and I don't think people really have an appreciation for it yet. But these ridiculously low. Hello, Dan. And by the way, hello, Lee. I did not mean to ignore you earlier. And of course, I listen to Dirty Boxers every day from whatever time you're on to what time you go off. Now I'm distracted.
Come on, Mike.
Talking about iTunes and updating that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's so much content out there. It's really hard to pick and choose what you want to do. And I'm very focused on where I want to spend my time listening to things. I listen to things that the average person probably has no interest in. For example, I listen and study things audio so that people who don't want to take the time and do their own homework can call and ask me questions. Not that I mind. Listening to some various things on gold and investing in World War II. And yesterday, Andrew and I were researching the retirement of Air Force One.
We were?
Andrew won't remember it, but we were last night.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. It's the Lone Squirrel. I'm here to tell you all about Lee Brown and about his show called The Boxers and where this bloomin' numpty may be found. See, DirtyBoxers.net is the place where you can scan Amazon array of blue or DVD. Just click the black button and you will see. For tongue-in-cheek and geeky chic, just listen to Lee 5 days a week, 9 a.m. in the EST. Just bisque your way to NAG Radio or NoAgendaStream.com.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Now, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
While Mike is working on this, I guess when I upgraded to Wirecast 5, it lost the sound. So we're going out on Daily Motion and Vaughn now just with audio. I mean, just with video.
It's a mime version.
Okay.
There's no audio.
Okay, you have to add the audio source.
was waiting for Andrew to say thank you, Mike.
Oh, I'm really slow today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm not asking you to do anything now.
No, you know what? Give me your team viewer. I'll go and I'll add an audio source. You just got to tell me what the audio source is.
I don't know, but if you go to your are you in a chat?
In your chat, yes.
You don't have the stuff that you need, do you?
No, just
Hold it a second. And while we're waiting, Bruce was saying that he was really happy about, what was it, either Pandora or Spotify that introduced him to, what did he say? He said he was introduced to Mumford & Sons, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, but see, that's the point of Spotify and Pandora. I mean, Spotify, your friends could share music, so pretty much Spotify I don't put in the same category as Pandora, but if you want to discover new music that may or may not be like what you're listening to, that's what it's really good for, Pandora and iTunes Radio.
It was actually Spence who said it. He said to Bruce, Pandora has introduced me to many new artists. I'm now a big fan of Mumford & Son.
But I'll kneel down, wait for now.
Aren't they from the UK?
They are from the UK. They had a great concert here in Queens a couple of weeks ago.
Sounds a bit like it. Is it just me, or does do Mumford & Sons sounds like a firm of funeral directors? Doesn't it? Mumford & Sons will handle your coffins.
It sounds like a mechanic shop.
Yeah. We actually had a group here in North Carolina, a regional beach music group called the Poor Souls, and they were roofers. They wanted to play music together. They were putting a roof on a recording studio in Charlotte, and they traded out the roof for the work to do on the studio. They recorded this old classic song in that session.
Shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-wop, shoo-be-doo-wop, shoo-wop.
When hearts were entertained in June.
Mike, hold on a second. Hey, Andrew, there are two Behringers, and it's one of them, and I'll tell you when I see it jumping. Oh, you'll see. Just reverse whatever you're doing if it didn't work. Go ahead, Mike.
No, that was it. I just wanted to give a little sample of some of the things that we deal with.
And Lee's here with us.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, matey.
How you doing, Sunshine?
I love that. That's where you just put on that song there. It went shooby-doo-wop, doo-wop. I really appreciate the fact that we've moved on since then. Yeah. Shooby-doo-wop, doo-wop. Oh, dear.
What are you about? That's amazing.
Like shoo-waddy-waddy.
Yeah. What are you on about? Hello, Mike. How you doing, bud?
I am doing all right for a really old guy. How are you doing?
I'm feeling old as well, mate. Maybe we should smoke a pipe and just generally have old bitter beer.
Smoke pot.
Pipe.
Wait. A pipe of pot. There you go. Sorted.
I don't know this person. I have nothing to do with him. Anyway, hello.
Just because we live in the same country doesn't mean we know each other.
Exactly.
And how far apart, guys, do you live from each other?
Well, I'm on the west coast, and you're on the sort of east, so about 350 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a long way.
That is miles.
It would be half a day's trip.
Okay.
Yeah, about 7 hours, depending. If you take the M25 or not, you see.
I would try and avoid the M25. I'd probably go on the M4, But then,
M4. That's a good one.
The easiest way would be a helicopter. So if anyone would like to, provide one for us, then we'd happily go and have a pint together.
You see, I would have gone more the A14 and then go, via Bristol. You see, that's another option, and then down the M5, isn't it, or the M4? Yeah,
M4 across to the London area, but then M5 coming down from Bristol. Yeah,
that's
anyone
true,
that's not in the UK is probably bored to tears now. So let's shut up, Lee.
Travel arrangements provided by.
Provided by the AA.
Mike, you're a man that I respect and of your wisdom and stuff.
Uh-oh.
Is it in America? Do they also go? Do you get to a certain age where you're like, oh yeah, you don't want to go that road. You want to go, via the A14 or the, yeah.
Absolutely, you get tired of traveling the same way all the way. Sometimes you just want to go out and turn left.
Oh, if only. Unfortunately, I can't get out my my cul-de-sac. Calm down, missus. I have to turn right.
Is that what you're calling it now, cul-de-sac?
Well, someone has to. It's politer. Find it. Anyway, so I thought I'd call in because, quite frankly, I'm getting bored of Apple doing these Microsoft-style Me Too situations.
Which one are you referring to, Lee?
The iTunes Radio.
Yes.
Shenanigans. I'm bored to tears. It wouldn't have happened in Steve Jobs' day.
And why not?
Well, because basically he would have come up with a better implementation of it.
And what would that be? Let's suppose that Steve Cook is listening to this show. He hears Lee with this supreme knowledge of what it should have been. So after we're done, he calls you up and says, Lee, million pounds. What do we need to do? What would you do after you came back from vacation?
Well, obviously, yes. First off, I would have... I'm going to show my hand a little bit here, boys and girls. I'm currently sorting out a project that's been going on for about a year now. It's called Geeky Things. We keep mentioning it. Eventually, it's going to happen. What Apple has an amazing concept of, like you were saying previously, the old school iTunes Radio. It has thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of streamage and content and stuff like that. What it could have done is, with its podcast directory and with its live stream, create valuable content of like Spotify styly, but with content. Or you've enjoyed that podcast, you've enjoyed something from Guys from Queens, you've enjoyed something from anywhere. Here's some suggestions. Here are some streams that you might be interested in, etc. But instead, they seem to have just gone, oh, we'll do that as well. Me Too type shenanigans, and has diluted what they could have possibly have done with this. Did that make any sense? It's a bit early.
Not really.
So you're hinting at the fact that perhaps they're not innovative anymore.
Yeah. I think they're on the turn.
But that sort of addresses the comments I was making earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And dead serious about this, totally serious content. Chime in, Andrew. What more innovation is there for music? Innovation now means I'm going to... I've had, because I provide consulting to quite a few people who do internet broadcasts, I cannot tell you how many times people have said to me, I have to start an internet radio station playing music because I know the exact right mix of music that will cause people to flock to my station. I've got it. I've nailed it. No one's doing it. Unique in the world. Then they go on the air, and it's just more of the same old, same old, same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where is innovation with regard to playing music on the internet? I don't see it.
Somebody needs to come up with a new niche that isn't being done yet that still attracts people, which I think is going to be very hard to do because it appears everything's been tried and has failed, or they've tried to milk it for everything they could possibly get, didn't succeed, and then dropped it.
The biggest problem is that basically there is nothing else you can do with music. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry to say it, but we've finally got control through options like Groove Shark and obviously Spotify, etc. We've got control of deciding what we want to listen to, at when and how. So the fact that we've got top 40 radio stations still thinking they're the supreme king baffles me, because why would a listener tune in? Because you have no control. And if you don't like the music, you'll just skip. You'll move to somewhere else. And that's it for a couple of, half an hour or whatever, until their playlist gets old. Because quite frankly, all modern day top 40 or general radio stations playing music, 9 times out of 10 are playing a glorified iTunes playlist. Let's be fair, right? This is what I'm saying about...
Some of them are probably playing an iTunes playlist.
Exactly. That's scary, but true.
Yeah, but I'm looking in chat now, and Alan makes the comment, I like TuneIn and iHeart much better. Mm-hmm. How can you listen to iHeart? Not only do they have about 30% commercials, but because it is the stream, they play the same commercials over and over and over again. Once you've listened for an hour, you've heard the same commercial 4 times. And it just grates on you like fingernails on a chalkboard. I don't know how to listen to iHeart Radio. Dan Ortego says, Mike, I listen to radio all day long as I bang away on my keyboard. Mm-hmm. I understand that, Dan. But if you're banging away on your keyboard, presumably doing something that requires some sort of thought and concentration, are you really listening to the radio, or is it just noise in the background?
But seriously, I would like to say with Dan, what kind of radio is he listening to? Is he actually listening to AM, FM, or is he listening to internet content radio? Because I think there is a split happening slowly but surely, where content...
What is the split?
Where content actually starts to rule. We've had a while for, if you're on the internet, you've got pretty much access to everything, good and bad. From where I've gone in the last couple of months, I've noticed a lot more people are interested and willing to try new things, try bringing in podcasting, for example, because let's be fair, you're a click away from a podcast on demand to listening to a live stream. It
is my understanding that iHeartRadio has now added podcasting.
Well, I haven't looked back into iHeart. And
I think you should.
Because
they have added it. If you broadcast but it's convoluted the way it works. You have to add your stuff onto Spreaker, and then they have to accept you based on your Spreaker profile.
Ah, right.
But start somewhere.
Well, someone like me that I don't want to be on Spreaker. I have 15 different shows. That means I have to manage 15 different Spreaker accounts.
Oh, really? So you can't even, through your account... This rings a bell now. I think someone else in the UK had mentioned it. Music Creations or whatever, the guy over there. He had mentioned something a couple of months ago about it. But I didn't realise you had to have an individual account for every single show.
I mean, you could have one mega feed, but that's not what they want. They just want individual feeds for individual shows.
Well, you've already got that. That's the stupid thing about it, isn't it?
You have an RSS already, and you can't just give them the RSS, yeah.
Wow. But I think the supreme thing, the biggest issue that I've been banging on about for a while is not necessarily the access to content, is to actually know where the supreme excellent content is. Because let's be fair, you've got to dig for it for ages and ages and ages until you come up with some lovely little gem that you then connect and subscribe to via RSS or whichever means is suitable to you. But that is so difficult, I find, especially in certain.
Are you talking about like a Pandora service to find good content, or are you talking about pretty much trying to discover new podcasts? Because I agree with you. I think it's very difficult to discover new non-celebrity based podcasts.
Exactly. And if you, especially I'm interested in tech. So I think everyone's, around here is interested in tech. If you Google, not Google, but podcast search for a tech podcast, for here in the UK at least, you get, an umpteen amount of BBC and other radio station network-based tech podcasts. Then you've got 20-odd pages of Leo Laporte to get through before you finally get to some good, juicy stuff, some quality goods.
You're absolutely right. I do think that their algorithm is a little broken now. And before, I'll give you an example. When you look at the top charts for podcasts, there have been times that I have looked at the top charts, and all I'm seeing is, let's say, a TED, NPR, for example.
Yeah.
I'll see TED, like 5000 TED, and I also see CNET. And what CNET and ZDNet do is that they release clips from the shows. So when you look under the top thing, there's maybe 20 or 30 CNET feeds to the same thing listed in the top charts. And it's kind of difficult to kind of go through all of that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what my project that I've been working on is. And I've been quite open about it, but it's called Geeky Things, where quite simply it kind of answers this question. Through frustration, I'm trying to create at least one answer. I don't think it's going to be the definitive answer, but I think that's where it has to go, where you have a style where it is a stream as well as polished content, so you get the live, quality like we've got here and what I feed on. I'm sure Andrew feeds on the live chat and everything going on there. But also you've got an outlet for polished, finished items and podcasts sitting side by side. We're now in a situation where surely it all should be in the same place. I don't understand why, if you go through your TV listings, on demand for me, I don't know if it's the same on cable, but on demand is a separate thing. It shouldn't be a separate thing. You want to look for content that may be live or on demand. You don't care if it's accessible or not right now, because quite frankly, everything's at your fingertips. It should all be under one umbrella, and then you decide what you want to have.
Well, Dan is making some points that, again, in this discussion, I think are particularly important. He says that when he listens to music, he has it at a low volume. It really doesn't affect his concentration. It takes away from the dry quietness of the home. Oh, yeah. In the radio business, Dan is what we would refer to as a passive listener, and nothing against Dan, but that is little to no value to the radio station. The passive listener is not really paying close attention to the advertising. If the advertising is not effective, then the radio station doesn't make any money, and they have to go on to do other things and play different music, and things change. Yeah. That and Dan says that he just heard a broadcast recently that said that listening to music helps prevent depression and stimulates the senses. Okay, so now radio's gone from being an entertainment medium to a medicinal medium. That's not what it's there for, and that's not what the suits in the radio stations and in the major broadcast media, that's not what they're shooting for. That sounds more like a Pandora / Spotify sort of thing. Now, all that being said, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It is what it is. If you pay for it or you spend your time consuming it, then it's good that you get out of it what you need out of it. But what we are facing now, and Andrew and I talked about this earlier in the week because it happened to my son, is at least here in the United States, we have ridiculously low bandwidth caps on mobile phones. My son has a 2 gigabyte data allowance for his phone. Normally that's not a problem because most people are going to listen to the phone and consume the media on the phone over Wi-Fi, not only because it's free, but also because it's a much better performance than the crappy bandwidth we have here in the United States. He went we got a notice that he was at 80% of his bandwidth. They sent us an email at about 9 o'clock at night, so I contacted him, told him to make sure that he knew he was close to his bandwidth cap. The next morning I got up, there was another email that said, you have exceeded your bandwidth cap. What that means is that he had something running in the background that used up half a gig of memory overnight. He left a video playing or something like that. And he went in there and said, yeah, see, I had a problem with our internet and I was using it for so-and-so. And he said, this happened. And I told it wrong. First email said he was close. The second email said he was right at it. Then the next day he got one saying that he had gone over. So I don't know what's going on with his, but I'm telling you that these sort of bandwidth caps that are, $10 for another gigabyte of data. We do that in uploading a file. And it's not going to allow internet media to go truly mainstream until there is, it's AT&T, until there is truly a way of dealing with these exorbitant prices for additional bandwidth. I don't know where the answer is. A lot of people will say, go get Sprint. They're truly unlimited. Well, it's unlimited because you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Well, T-Mobile is the same.
Yeah, and you can't hear anything.
No. A lot of people that I know that use T-Mobile said that they are very, very happy with what they have, the switching from Verizon.
Doug is mentioning a podcast on How to Podcast. Everybody has one. Yeah, and very few people get it right, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on those.
Well,
it is funny.
Go ahead, Lee.
No, it's just funny that kind of, it's still something. It's almost like, and I mean this all with respect and stuff.
Uh-oh.
No, seriously, I do. Right. However, I am getting to the point now where I can't understand why people are doing Me Too situations as well. So, you know,
fine.
Okay, I'm starting up a podcast. Oh, as well as that, I will start up a tech news podcast. And with as well as that, I seen that. Oh, I've got to do a how to podcast as well because everyone seems to be doing it. And now I'm doing it, so I know how to do it. You know, the resource is already there. You don't need to produce that kind of thing. It frustrates me. It's an RSS feed wasting space for me.
I have an idea as a possible reason. Yes. It's the same with television shows and the same with movies and the same with everything else that possibly could be a consumption item. Nobody's prepared to take a chance anymore. It's like, they've done it. It's worked. We'll do the same. It'll work for us and we'll make bazillions. No, take a chance, for goodness sake. Don't just sit on the fence and think, we'll just go along that route because they're doing it and they're managing to succeed. Because we then end up with a society that sat there at 7 p.m. on a whatever day of the evening watching The X Factor or America's Got Talent. Because that's all that is on television, and that the idiots that are producing this crap think, well, they must enjoy it and they must love it because they're all sitting there watching it every night.
Exactly.
It's because that's the only thing you're producing, you morons. Try and take a chance to make something new and fresh. I'm going to shut up now because I'll rant.
But that's the scary thing, is that we've now got this amazing opportunity, and we're still quite young. Let's be fair, right? Compared to
you are.
No, I meant as an industry. Shh.
Oh.
But just generally, I mean, like podcasting wise, we're still quite young and still trying to find our feet. But what scares me is that this amount of Me Too shenanigans going on out there, that it's almost to the point where it's actually, not upsetting, but it's just disappointing, I suppose.
That's the problem, isn't it? Nobody's prepared to take a risk, to take a chance. It's like, well, if we follow the same route and go down the same path as everybody else, then possibly we might be able to make a little bit, as opposed to thinking, let's create something brand new and completely different to everybody else. Take a chance, and if we get a bit of a loss, fine. Who knows? By taking a chance, you could make an absolute niche for yourself, and pave the way for goodness knows how many other copycats that are going to copy you.
It's just one of those things where I find that it just needs, I just don't know. Sometimes I almost wish we could set up the podcast police and just go around slapping people, going, no, sorry, you're producing something that, the Twit Network and geek guys from Queens and Tech Buzz and this, that, and the other, all these 28,000, not including, NPR and the BBC and all those shenanigans trying to tick off certain criteria of specialist programming. All these people are doing the same thing as you are, and you're regurgitating the same news stories. Stop and do something.
Or just changing it very slightly and then just pushing out the same load of bleh.
Exactly. It's frustrating. And
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'll tell you what you could do. You could do like CBS, read the news story and don't like the details, just make up new ones.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, and also don't investigate anything. Just actually, look at what somebody else is producing and think, we'll just repeat that because it must be true. It was on the internet, and don't even research it and do any journalism.
Exactly. Because we've got an amazing opportunity here. Just talking about news stories, that we're almost in the shadow of lazy journalism, because that's almost over the last decade or two where things have gone. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Huffington Post is a perfect example, let's be fair. And sorry, Mike. Oh.
Is that a comedy site?
Oh. But supposedly.
Okay.
I only use it once in a while if it's submitted to me. But it's weird that we, as podcast producers, sometimes we don't actually do our due diligence in a story, because it's just come from a PR press release type thing. They've originally copied and pasted it into WordPress, and then we've just regurgitated it from there. So it's at what point can you say stop and actually produce something that we're actually missing? We are missing good journalism, but it costs a fortune. So how do we do it as a community, properly and correctly?
Well, what we need to do to start with is to go out and create news that's good, that people might look at and go, "Oh, hang on, that's a bit of good news. Let's go and report on that."
Well, there are websites that do that specifically.
Yeah, really? I don't think they start with B and end in BC, though, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Or FOX, whatever that is.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
No.
I dread to think. It sounds like a porn site. I dread to click on it, mate. Dread to click on it.
Sounds like it's got a furry tail, whatever it is.
I just got internet radio to load in iTunes. I'm sitting here looking through the offerings, and
he sounds
guess
excited.
What? Nissan Communications is there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Where?
On iTunes, on internet, on iTunes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know that we're on it. That's thanks to Andrew, who put the application on the IAIB. I mean, I know that we're on it. That's thanks to Andrew, who put the on the IAIB.
So we're live now on iTunes, right?
That's thanks to Andrew, who put the. No. Hey, Andrew.
There you go.
Yes.
Andrew, something funny is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it has to do with Vaughn, with Daily Motion.
What's the funny?
But Bamboozer, well, it just Bamboozer showed that 130 viewers, and it's hovering around 111. That's double than any other time.
Yeah. A lot of people are watching.
And I'm wondering if they just coming here because they watched it during the week on those other CDNs. Did that happen to you? That after you went on Daily Motion, you had more people watching the live show on GFQ?
Yeah, I mean, I've had more traffic to the website, but
that is that's
now it's
that's just not.
To me, they screwed up the trilogy so bad by the last one.
Talking about the movies?
Yeah, the movies.
No, those don't count.
And
okay, it's GFQ on iTunes.
Yeah.
Oh. How can you be in two places at once, Andrew? I'm very confused.
Well,
hey, I'm good.
That's the power of the TV and show business.
That's amazing.
I can be in
He's
three
split
places at once.
personality. He can split his voice.
Hold on, Andrew can be in three places at once. Hold on, right?
I
so,
can.
Wow. Jessica must be very excited.
Oh, gee, you don't even know.
She's glad to be in the fourth place.
Yeah, she's in the fourth place. She's in Puerto Rico right now.
Oh, wow.
Mafia Talk Radio? That sounds like a page turner.
There's no
there
such
we
thing
go.
as the mafia. Come on.
Mafia and Organized Crime News. Wise Guy Culture.
No. There's no such thing.
Of course not. Mm-hmm.
Manager Radio. That sounds like a big one.
Ooh.
Listen to your boss talk about what kind of a piece of crap you are.
By the way, Andrew team viewed into the Wirecast machine, and he did something I should have done. He went to the sound properties, and none of the devices showed that they had any traffic on it, any activity on it. So I went ahead and I unplugged that UCA202. I plugged it back in, and everything is back. So that's little bitty things that you don't think about. You think it's a lot more complicated when you go to something new. So, Andrew, thanks again.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll pat myself on the back.
Yeah. No, I'll do it here.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
that's a little hard, Emma.
Yeah, it's a little hard. I don't know why.
And Dan says, how about the Black Armenian Mormon radio stations?
I think there's a lot of those.
Let me tell you something. I think it is fabulous that we have the ability to have all of these niche programs out there, because if you depend on mainstream media for your information or to help you understand what's going on in the world, you are going to be woefully left out in the cold. Not only are you going to be uninformed, but you're going to be malinformed. Yeah. I just think that the ability. I mean, look, Vance is in here. The show that Vance does with Mark Johnson, TTFN. That has to be a niche show. There aren't that many people who have the resources to be able to go out and take advantage of the things that Vance is able to demonstrate.
Exactly.
I mean, the radio stations and the TV stations with unlimited money, yeah, it's easy for them. But what about the rest of the world who wants to understand these things? They want to know what SDI is. How, if you need to get a TriCaster, what is the right one? I mean, this is a niche market that they are serving extravagantly well, that if there were not the internet availability, this show would never see the light of day. There is not a radio station or TV station in the world that would touch a show with such a niche audience.
Exactly.
And I think that's just fabulous.
However, I would like to make a slight criticism, because they don't seem to. I've submitted comment cards about this, and they don't see. I find they're at TTFN the worst QVC channel ever, because they parade all these lovely things, and there's no 0800 number to actually call up to actually order it. There's
well,
nothing.
You can send Vance an email, and he will fix you up.
I'm sure you will, but I just find it as almost like technology porn. It's amazing. And it's like, yes, I want one of them too. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I want one.
But that's exactly right. I mean, now you know what to strive for. I mean, if Vance weren't doing this show, and there's some other people out there doing some equally, well, not equally, I think they do the best, but doing some other things that if this alternative information were not available, people would think that the extent of web broadcasting is getting a C910 and Wirecast and going for it. And there's so much more to that. We're on the verge of a revolution in broadcasting. Still, I don't care what you say, the major media still control. Unbelievably, a few people even still watch the major networks. But over time, that goes away, except to the extent that the major networks are able to capture the segment of the market on the internet that they still have some influence over in conventional legacy media.
So, yeah, but the one thing that I find quite interesting and astounding, and this is the bit where it's like eye-watering in some respects, and I hope Vance is okay, because all I'm saying, I have my credit card ready and I can't pay every Tuesday. I can't seem to call in to get the loveliness. However,
I'm sending you Vance's email address. Just go ahead and send your credit card information over.
Superb.
And well, no, here's the benefit now. So when you're in chat and when you see this particular equipment, he already has your credit card and your authorization. All you have to do is type in chat, Vance, send it code 1. That means overnight, or code 2, send it slow boat to China methodology. And you're covered. So you've made a mountain out of a molehill.
Obviously, I have. I didn't realize there was this backdoor option available. I didn't realize. I'm so sorry.
I mean, Vance is here to please.
The more that I know, it's amazing.
Yes.
However, all I'm saying, I've lost the train of thought now. Hold on. Right.
You're Sunday. Not old enough for that, Lee.
Oh, dear. Oh. I'm thinking now. Hold on. What were we talking about? Yeah, the
Black Armenian Mormon radio stations.
I'll be hosting it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll be definitely there. But what's scary is that certain outlets, and I know it's not exactly a great craze, but I get now more daily listeners and now viewers for my show than Pierce the Dipstick Morgan does on CNN. Now,
is that
I am so proud. That's his official name. That's his actual full-length name. Yes, it's on his birth certificate and everything. They thought they'll warn the world from there.
We're going to send him back to you.
Thank you, Lee.
No, thank you. But what's amazing is that I'm still considered a small thing on the shoe of mainstream media, and yet he is considered an actual kind of mainstream outlet, which blows my mind, you know.
Well, it's probably because his boxes are washed and clean. They don't smell at all.
I tell you what, that's the worst mistake ever, calling my show that. Can I just say, I regret that. Cheers, mate. Cheers.
I'm sitting here looking at iTunes Radio, and I unfortunately scrolled away from it, but just in looking at these niche channels, there was one here on all about pet training. Now, and I mean this in all sincerity, I mean, you guys in the UK have had BBC shows on butterfly observing for years and years and years, but we haven't enjoyed those riveting sorts of presentations here in the United States. But now with the internet, we have the ability to access whatever particular narrow interest topic we want to pursue, which, again, I think it's fabulous.
It's called highbrow over here.
Well, some would call it that. Others might not.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm sitting here mesmerized, and I really don't know what's going on, Mike.
Something's broken.
Oh.
It makes absolutely no sense. And it's hard for me to believe it, so I'm not.
If you're new to the show and listening for the first time, you can join us in chat. Just click on the chat room, enter a name. As long as someone else hasn't reserved it, you can use it. You do not have to register for an account. We'll be glad for you to participate. Look at it now, 196.
I know I don't understand this.
Why can't you? What don't you understand?
Why are you questioning it? People are lying.
Because it doesn't happen. This is now almost quadrupled.
Yeah.
What was in the last few months. Every month, every time, every Sunday, it was right around 50, 60, 40, 50, 60, 40, 50, 60. And suddenly, 1 week, it's 200, well, now it's down to 156. It's just not, it doesn't, it makes no sense. This is like that thing that we were talking about, to buy followers on Twitter. Then one day you have 3 followers and the next day you have 50,000. Come on. That's, that when you look at somebody like that, something is wrong there.
Okay, Andrew says we have to shut up.
I'm shutting up.
If you consider that you're now on Roku, and because we keep talking about
right, I know.
Okay, now, and that people are actually coming in to see the faces of the people that they're listening to every week.
It's very possible they all decided to do it at once, but that's okay.
I think they want to hear if I'm sober or not. That's why they're tuning in.
See if you've got both eyes open at the same
time.
Andrew,
don't disappoint them, Andrew.
I know, I am sober.
Oh, good.
Is that why you sound so tired?
I'm sure there's some remnants of last night still.
Hey, Steve.
Hello, Amnon.
Hello. Something right up somebody's alley here. The Guardian reports that a police intellectual property crime unit has arrested 2 men for Birmingham and have seized suspected counterfeit DVD box sets worth around £40,000.
Is that all?
Including titles such as Game of Thrones, CSI, and Vampire Diaries. The claim is that the men were buying foreign counterfeit copies and selling them online as genuine. London Police Commissioner Adriad Leppard offers commentary indicative of the thinking behind these efforts, saying intellectual property crime is already costing our economy hundreds of millions of pounds a year and placing thousands of jobs under threat. Left unchecked and free to feed on new technology could destroy some of our most creative and productive industries. The article...
Shocking, isn't it?
I just don't get this.
The thing that really annoys me, the absolute most about this, is that all these figures and statistics and things that they're quoting are all done by... they're not done by independent studies. They're done by the media companies and the people that want the figures to be extremely high and to be negative.
Well, that's how you get...
You look at any independent review of any of the statistics that they're putting out, and they're completely blown out of the water because they're just a pack of lies. But the unfortunate thing is the media pick up on it and think, it must be true, there's a statistic there. Somebody's obviously gone to the trouble of producing that, but they don't realise that it's being produced by the people that want it to be a high figure.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
That really annoys the hell out of me. And you've got bodies like the Movie Picture Association of America and the Recording Industry Association of America that are funding the Metropolitan Police Intellectual Property Crime Unit. Is not being funded by taxpayers' money. It's being paid for by the entertainment industries. So is that not bias? Is that not? Does it not have only one motive, and that is to safeguard their profits? Those sorts of things should be absolutely independent and have oversight and no control from the entertainment industries. But unfortunately, it's the absolute opposite of what you would expect.
See, I'm disappointed that they decided to stop the import on such crud. Maybe this is just a moral thing. It's like, yeah, okay, they're importing in Vampire Diary DVDs. No one needs a DVD of Vampire Diaries. We'll decide to ban them. Maybe it's a good thing.
Maybe. Let's see who just called in. Hello.
Gene.
Huh?
Hey, it's Gene.
Hey, Gene.
I just signed in on chat and wanted to know whether you might want to hear about some of my Windows 8 experiences. This old guy went from Windows 7 to Windows 8 for the first time. It was interesting.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Wait a second. Let's see. First of all, I want to make sure that Lee and Steve finish talking about what they wanted to talk about.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I could go on. I could go on for a long time regarding the corruption and the manipulation of the entertainment industries on what should be either public domain or should be freely available to the public without any manipulation. And anyway, I could go on for hours about that, but perhaps that's another show. So yes, please bring something on new to the table.
Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought, but I'll tell you what, the experience was a lot easier after I installed the shell casing to make things look a little like Windows 7 when I wanted to get in there and access stuff that I'm used to accessing and, changing things and getting the control panel and that kind of stuff. So I think the first thing that you need to do if this thing is transition is going to be difficult for you is get the shell casing and make it look like Windows 7, and you can flop back and forth anytime you want. Once I got through that, I tried to upgrade my Internet Explorer to 9, and then I wanted to go on Chrome, and with both Internet Explorer and Chrome, and I don't know whether this happens to everyone, but I had a problem with a malware coming in, the Conduit search engine.
Right.
This Conduit just drives you crazy.
Right.
You try and set and it comes in and it takes over and it sets it up as a homepage.
But it's also easy. It's also easy to get rid of.
Well, I didn't find it that easy to get rid of.
So go ahead.
Malwarebytes. I went on Google to follow some instructions that other people had, and I tried a whole bunch of things. finally, I just decided. I saw when I went on Google, I saw Mozilla Firefox is dealt with, and so I just installed Mozilla Firefox, and that's it. So I didn't even bother with Chrome and Internet Explorer. I'm staying with Firefox. It's running fine.
Okay, now that conduit, when it comes in, that's not. It's not. I don't think it's a browser independent thing. I mean, you still have something in the machine that you need to clean.
Well, I tried. I went to applications. It's not installed as an application. I cleaned the registry. Some of the solutions that I was given when I Googled the problem were quite complicated and looked like they were a little dangerous to me. So when I saw that Mozilla Firefox has solved the problem, I just installed it. Heck with it.
Yeah.
So,
the thing is, you may have already cleaned it all out, but your homepage is still set up to go there. All you have to do is just change your homepage in the options of.
I did 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Just kept. So the way I dealt with it is I'm just using Firefox right now, and maybe Explorer will deal with.
And actually, I would say go to Chrome.
Yeah, I would like to. Okay. The other problem that I ran into that people might is a number of my old devices have driver problems with Windows 8. The drivers are not adequate, and so I've had to go in. USB devices. I had, for instance, a USB Insignia sound bar that I use with my laptop sometimes, and I wanted to get a little better sound, and I put that on, and it didn't recognize it, so I had to go back in, and I had to get Windows 8 drivers for that. Also, a printer. I had an HP 6100 that I used for a network printer, and it wouldn't install on Windows 8 until I went in and I picked up Windows 8 drivers. So the software on the printer that I had, the disk, it was not adequate to set the printer up. So there's little things like that you have to go through, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. It's just that it's a little bit of a nuisance when you plug in a USB device and it's not recognized, and you really don't know what to do. So
right,
Gene, can I ask you, Gene? The drivers, are they updated through Windows Update, or do you have to go to the printer manufacturer's website?
What I just did is I just Googled HP drivers for Windows 8, and it came up, and then the printer was fine. It was installed.
Okay. Can you remember the Google results that came back? Was it the HP website that you went to, or was it some alternative website?
I believe so, Steve. When you get these driver problems, I'm glad you mentioned that, because with the speaker as an example, you Google something like that, and you get all of these solutions for you, and the next thing you know, you're installing some sort of a driver update program that's going to download for you, and it's going to want to go all your drivers, and it's going to want you to buy it, and all that kind of stuff, and it's one pain in the neck. So you got to watch what you click on.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find out from you, because I've got a Windows 8 laptop myself, and as you say, you plug in some of the older devices. It comes up and says there's no drivers available. So you do a search, and invariably the first full page is from one of these driver scanning type software programs that says, "Oh, we'll find the driver for you," and then charges you, $50 a year or something to be able to do that. So you have to be very, very careful. If anything, if Windows Update does not update to give you a Windows 8 driver, then if you've got a Hewlett-Packard printer, go to Hewlett-Packard's site. Do not rely on the Google search.
I agree 100%.
Look where the address is taking you. If it says hp.com or hp.co.uk, if you happen to be in England, probably you're going to be okay, but steer well clear of any of the ones that say like driver resources and that kind of thing, because invariably there'll be scams.
And also, you got to watch out. You say, well, let me go to a Microsoft one or something, and they say it's Microsoft, but when you click on the darn thing, it's not. It ends up being driver with or something else.
Yeah, it might have Microsoft in the part of the address, and invariably it's towards the front, so most people don't look at the back end of the address. Look at the whole address that you're going to be clicking on. Hopefully you've got a source, view source, not source, what's it called? You normally get it at the bottom of the browser window. When you hover over a link, it'll actually show you the full link. what it is. I can't remember what it is now. Source, isn't it?
No, it's the actual URL that it's going to go to.
Yeah, that's the word. I can't think what it's called now, but yeah, it's make sure you actually look at that as the full address that you're going to go to, rather than just a little snippet of the address, because invariably it's going to take you to a scam site.
Yep, and so that's probably the most. I mean, it didn't go as smooth as I thought it would, but it wasn't that bad either. But you sure have to be careful when you start messing around, as you guys know. So I just thought I'd kick.
Bar. That's what it's called, status bar. Look at
status
the status bar.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, status, you call it in America. We call it status over here. Switch it on. It's a very important one to have switched on. It only takes up, maybe 1.5 lines, but it's very important if you are security conscious to make sure the links you're clicking on are the links that you think you're going to.
Very good. Okay, guys.
All right, Gene. Thank you.
Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Okay.
Whilst on the subject of Windows 8, I've not actually installed Windows 7 on the laptop. I've had to refresh or reset the laptop a couple of times because of little intricacies and little glitches that have annoyed the hell out of me. And I was dual booting with Windows 7, but for the last, week, 10 days now, I've managed to survive on Windows 8 and not even put Windows 7 on, which has been quite a big learning curve and very frustrating. But I'm now finally getting used to the fact that it's only got Windows 8, and I'm getting around quite happily on it, as opposed to thinking, God, this is infuriating. Where is so-and-so hiding?
Nice. Hiding, yeah, they're hiding things away. It's not where they used to be. They've put them in a completely different location. I know, it's ridiculous. This is why it didn't take off like they were hoping that it would. Anyway,
I've been looking at this internet tab in iTunes. There's some interesting stuff here. There's an awful lot of music and all that, which I don't really care anything about, but there is a topic called News/Talk Radio. It has 516 streams in it. It has there are a lot of radio stations. I'm sure every radio station would like to be on the internet to the extent that it can legally do so. BBC Radio 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, BBQ Central Radio, the only station talking barbecue and grilling 24/7. You know what? I love that. I love that very narrow niche topic. And if these guys are smart, they can find a way to make money with it, because the people who are dedicated to that niche will put up a few bucks to keep it going.
So, first of all, our number is 919-518-9773. Or if you're anywhere else that is not local, you can connect to us through Computers 2K Voice on Skype, and that's audio. And if you are watching us on any of the other CDNs, if you don't see a very active chat box with everybody, then you can come to nissancommunications.com and just click on Watch Live. So is there iTunes Radio and iTunes Internet?
I don't know what the difference is.
I'm
looking at the tab that says Internet. There is also a tab that says Radio.
So it's all on the internet. So I'm wondering what's
the difference, Andrew?
Oh, so on the internet, Andrew dropped out for a little bit. The internet, do you see any actual, and you would know, any actual radio stations? I
click on the tab,
terrestrials,
and all I see is iTunes Radio. Start listening. All
yeah,
right, let's click on Start
That's their
listening.
Pandora. That's the biggest muck up in all of this, is the fact that they've taken a brilliant brand they had previously, which made sense to people. You're going to listen to radio, and now they've taken that, and now it's a glorified playlist like Pandora and Spotify, but now they've called it iTunes Radio.
This is garbage.
Yeah. Now, if they came up with a better name, because let's be fair, they're supposedly, something with I in it, surely, to make it stand out and be different and make sense to people, then I wouldn't be over this like a rash. But, I don't know. It just seems weird to me that you would take one thing and then rebrand it and then make this confusion.
In the movies, and I'm not proud of my address. In a torn up town.
Okay, that was exciting. That's Pure Pop on iTunes Radio.
Wow.
And here's one with Katy Perry as the guest DJ.
DJ?
Here's the Pepsi Pulse Pop.
She can barely string a sentence together. How can she be a DJ?
I don't know. Here's guest DJ Diplo. Wow. iTunes Festival 2013 show. Wait a minute. What Beatles radio show? Wait a minute.
No, you put Beatles in the title of anything and that's a guaranteed hit.
Hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
And then they go and spoil it with Robin Thicke and Justin Timberlake.
Now, you have to have iTunes installed in order to go to all these places, correct?
I'm assuming so.
Of course.
I'm so glad I don't have iTunes installed.
I mean, where else in the world could you go to hear Beatles songs?
Everywhere.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, are they, iTunes doing Beatles? This is just another lawsuit waiting to happen, isn't it? Absolute
It took them long enough to actually make their media available on download or from streaming, didn't it?
Well, that's because I like the internet.
Well, that's Lee, what you just said. Why would they do? But I don't know that they are doing it. I think what happens is they are carrying a radio station that is doing. Oh no, but it's called Beatles Radio. You said, right, Mike?
That's my point.
Okay, I'm sure it's licensed.
Okay.
Well,
no, I was just wondering
because it's no secret that because Apple Records is obviously Beatles and Apple Apple, the computer company, they had the
big lawsuit
the conclusion.
Over that.
Yeah, big old lawsuit until iTunes came along, and that's why it was most definitely iTunes and not Apple, because the settlement was you cannot use the Apple brand, as it were, to advertise music, because then you're going into the Beatles territory. That's not fair. So that was
anything to do with music, wasn't it? It wasn't just
yeah.
If you had anything to do with music whatsoever.
Exactly. So that's why
downstairs.
The lawsuits.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So if you have a long layover, you can get bottled water, huge bottles of water, 1.5 liters for like 63 euro cents, which is like about $1.
Wow, that's good.
So that's Leo, the tech guy, on Twit Radio on the Internet tab on iTunes.
Oh, the joy.
Talking technical, just a second. Steve?
Hello.
What microphone are you using?
At this present moment in time, I'm using a Jabra.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Sounds perverted.
Yes, really. It's a Jabra GN9330.
It's a headset.
Digitally enhanced cordless telephone headset, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which allows me to wander around the entire property I have here, which is like 100 foot of back garden, and still listen and communicate with everybody as if I was sat here in front of the television screen.
Oh, wow.
It may not be
I can assure you there's
quality,
absolutely nothing, is there, Adams, in our Constitution that even infers a national bank.
Nothing.
But remember that report that he drew up, the banking bill, good heavens, and the report on manufacturers and the like. It was so...
All right. VoterRadio.com, covering politics in North Carolina and beyond. I'll bet that's riveting.
I bet that's got a worldwide audience.
Ugh.
It doesn't need to. That's the whole point. That's the beauty of this.
No, I think you couldn't really... You can't use the word beauty in that sentence when it relates to that.
Well, it is the beauty of it. What are you on about? It's the whole point of this amazing revolution. Oh, shush.
It's not beautiful in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, you're being silly.
Unless
now,
you're
boy.
blind.
Oh, I'm not even going to touch that with a barge pole. I'm stepping away from that one.
No, please don't use your barge pole. You've had problems with that before, Lee.
I told you that in confidence. How rude.
Oh, sorry.
Mike, Hey, Mike, will it be
Yes.
okay with you if I turn the medium, or I don't know, whatever it is, the medium knob, like to 3 o'clock to give Steve a little fuller sound, or
No.
no? Okay.
Because it would affect everybody else. Lee would also.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
I
be
mean, I
like
could go and get the other microphone, but it just means
no,
I have to
no,
hold
no,
it,
no,
which is
no,
horrible.
no. I want you to be comfy.
It's fine.
Be comfy.
Causing issues.
Okay,
Steve.
now, how many people here got an iPhone 5? Do we have anybody that stood in line?
5S.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, 5S. I'm sorry, 5S. Well, anyway, if you do, listen to this. Hamburg data protection specialist Johannes Kaspar warns against using iPhone 5S's new fingerprint ID function. The biometric feature of your body, like your fingerprints, cannot be erased or deleted. They stay with you until the end of your life and stay constant. They cannot be changed. One should thus avoid using biometric ID technologies for non-vital or casual everyday uses, like turning on a smartphone. This is especially true if a biometric ID, like your fingerprint, is stored in a data file on the electronic device you are using. Kaspar finds Apple's argument that your fingerprint is only stored on the iPhone, never transmitted over the network, weak and misleading. The average iPhone user is not capable of checking on a technical level what happens to his or her fingerprint once it is on the iPhone. He or she cannot tell with any certainty or ease what kind of private data applications downloaded into the iPhones can or cannot access. The recent disclosure of spying programs like PRISM makes it riskier than ever before to share important personal data with electronic devices. Kaspar adds, as a matter of principle, one should never hand over any biometric data when it isn't strictly needed. Handing over a non-changeable biometric feature like a fingerprint for no better reason than it provides some convenience in everyday use is ill-advised and foolish. One must always be extremely cautious where you and for what reasons one hands over biometric features. I wonder how many people would use their Social Security number in order to unlock their machine, their phone, if there was no swiping, if you had to type in something. How many people would use that and store it on their phone? This is so true here, and I don't understand. I mean, do you see a trend of somebody trying to collect data in the future, and that's why they're coming up with that?
You see, when it came out, because the way I do my show, it's like, you know, we're doing the tongue-in-cheek, geeky chic stuff. So I played it over and over and over again on that episode. It's like, listen carefully to what they're saying. It did not say it's not going to be transmitted. It did not say that. It said it'll be stored on the A7 chip, I think it was, in the core. Nothing else can get hold of it, and it will not be backed up on Apple servers. That's exactly what they said. Apple servers. So if it, you know, okay, fine, so you've ticked off Apple, but who else, you know, is there, you know, why didn't they just say any servers? This is not going to be backed up on any servers. It's not going to be backed up at all. It's not going to be moving from that machine at all, no matter what. Why not go that extra step? That's where I had the issue with, and that was the day after the keynote.
Yeah, they can't promise you that because once some type of malware gets in there, it can take it.
No. It's not the fact that it's malware or anything like that. But if you are trying and get people, especially after, as your article was saying, after the PRISM situation,
right?
You want to make sure that your crap don't stink, basically. And so you should go out and say it is not going to go anywhere but that device. It is not going to be backed up on any servers. It's not going to move anywhere. But they didn't. They missed a trick. They literally just said it will not be backed up on Apple servers. That's what I'm having the issue with. And I'm surprised, if they're going to try and get PR stuntage out of, which is basically what this organization is trying to do, and they've waited till the launch day to do it, to get maximum publicity, what they should have said is, well, where is it going? None about this malware, none about this, possibility of apps, because they do cover that in the keynote. They do cover all this. What they don't cover is where, that it's not going to move at all from that device, which is concerning and which is why I'm not going to get an iPhone 5S. I'll get off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I can't. Not having one puts me at a disadvantage to argue. I mean, I'm looking only at the article.
That's fair, dude.
And I'm
sorry.
It pisses me off. This means that people are going to have their fingerprints possibly stolen, used somewhere else. I mean, if you got it, you can now print it. What we're going to see later on is somebody wearing, I want to buy some rubber gloves with, some celebrities' fingerprints on it. Hey, I mean, somebody got
George just giggling because Amnon said he wanted to buy some rubber gloves.
I know. But anyway.
Think about it.
That's better.
Think about it. If I want to get somebody in trouble, I mean, I'm looking like, a few years ahead. And we know that those fingerprints can be stolen.
Well, let's be fair. And it's been out in Window Land forever.
But people don't use it.
Yes, because we all know that Windows are stupid. It will get hacked, and it will be, because I've got a laptop.
No, that's not why.
No, it is.
I think it's not being used because it doesn't work.
No, it does work. I used it on my pinky.
I don't know. I've got a few people that came here with computers that had that on, and I say, okay, go ahead and say, oh no, this never worked for me. Just type in the password, and it's good. Well, it's good that it doesn't work.
But I've got it was a slightly drunken evening when I first got the laptop, and it was like, oh, let's try this, blah blah blah. A few friends were around, and so I used my the pinky finger on my left hand.
Right.
I thought, okay, that's the least used finger. That I'll use it, and it does work. But the fact that we know the track record of Microsoft, no one wanted to use it. Now the problem is that all respect for people, I'm going to say now that some of my best friends own Apple devices. I own one myself. But I wouldn't trust anything, even if it is like through Apple fanboyism, to have that sort. And you have no choice because it's where it's built in. That's the bit that I'm worried about.
Right.
Is that even if you have an on-off in the software, does that truly mean on-off like webcams? There was an article I keep mentioning on several times a couple of years ago where they say that they've had technology for forever. Even though the LED on a webcam isn't on to indicate it's on, they can still use it.
Right.
Because it's connected to your computer.
Right.
Now, if that's the case, at what point, obviously you're voting with your money, but at what point can you just say, no, stop? I would like to be able to use my 4-digit PIN. I think I can just about remember that, even on a drunken night out.
Yeah,
I think I can just...
But that opens another can of worms. I don't think a 4-digit PIN is secure. I don't understand why banks and all that are not using it. Do your own. I mean, you want to do 12, do 12. And take it a step further now. Are we going to have the ability to sign on to websites and to our bank and to other places with the biometric fingerprint readers? Is this going to happen in the future?
That's the next update.
And if it does, what happens to the golden rule of don't use the same password everywhere you go? What are you going to do? Mike, you're muted. Oh, okay.
I know. I have another problem with that. If someone's going to steal your phone, they're going to have to cut off your finger to go with it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that is the next logical step. And obviously the next logical step on from retina scans and
take your eye out.
Well, it'll be DNA. And once you've got to the point where, okay, we're relying now on DNA, any part of your body, so it's just a strand of hair that you don't even know is going to happen. At least you know if your finger's been chopped off, but you don't know if a strand of your hair is gone.
John Cole says it doesn't work to cut your finger off. It will until the finger dries out.
That is true, yeah. So you've got a good couple of hours to add a new profile, because I did say you can have multiple profiles in there, couldn't you?
Yeah, but
all you need to do is lick the end of your finger, whether it's cut off and dead or not. Doesn't make any difference, does it?
But
John is arguing. He says no, it doesn't, not at all. And I would like to know how many fingers he's cut off and found that it doesn't work. Maybe I'll have to defer to his expertise on this one.
Science.
The thing is that you are not going to be able to change your profile if it's fingerprint, because that stays. That doesn't change.
Well, what stops people, and this is something that's just pinged into my head right now, so I haven't developed this thought at all yet, but what stops people from, when you're asleep, picking up your phone and just bleeping and logging you in? Because you're comatose, aren't you? You know, they just literally, that's all that needs to happen, is to unlock, and then you're in.
Yeah.
The worrying thing is that the more and more technology features and functions that they build into these phones or any device now that we think, oh, that's a good idea, that's going to save this, that's going to make life a little bit easier, the worse it's going to become. And we're allowing it to happen. You know, we don't sit back and think, hang on a minute, what could this be used for as a nefarious purpose? If we were all to do that, we would be throwing these things in the bin and just not going out and queuing up and buying, because we're petrified of how they were going to be misused. But the vast majority of the people out there now are just so complacent and think, oh, well, it's just the way things are going now. Stop it, for goodness sake, and stand up for what you believe is right, and don't let them take away stuff anymore. It's about time people just said no.
Sorry, how? Sorry? Say no.
No.
No. All right.
Enough's enough.
Well, I mean, here's Dan is saying this is all just pure paranoia. At this point, it is.
It's not paranoia.
Well, no, it is, because it really didn't happen. So you have to be prepared.
It's all well and good saying it's all pure paranoia, looking at it, but possibility of what may be happening in the future. But go back 8 months, 9 months. Did we believe what the NSA could have done back then? We probably all thought, well, it's probably happening. But now we've got absolute proof about it. And again, with that, everyone's so complacent thinking, oh, well, you know, they need to keep a check on certain individuals. But not 100% of the population of the world. That's just insane.
Yeah.
Let me just say something. John, as in John Coles, this is a little bit too much there. Don't repeat yourself. It's people trying to read it and to have to scroll back and forth is a little bit kind of awkward. So one is good enough. We know what you mean here, John.
I like what Brent's put there. I use my middle finger all the time. Can't cut that one off.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, Joe's saying that cutting fingers is hot.
Well, for me, it's not paranoia, for me, at least. I can only talk for myself. It's just, I would like these questions answered, please. You know, if you're going to make a blatant statement and you're standing 100% behind it, then at least cover all bases and not just say it will not be backed up via Apple servers. To Apple servers.
Yeah, don't.
You know?
You're saying, why are they giving this type of information? That's your problem.
Is it, well, at least for this, something like this, and in this day and age, oh my goodness, this day and age, it's only changed in the last couple of months, really, for everybody else. But at least you need to cover your backside. You need to say, especially for something like this sort of technology, we will not be doing anything at all with this. It's not going to be moved in 100% from anything just from this device. It is literally going to sit on this device, and that is it. And once you're ready to sell, then you can delete the profile, I believe is how you do it. And then that's it. And that's fair. At least you're being honest and transparent. The problem is, it's not paranoia. It's the fact that they're not being transparent completely. So that's why you have these questions. Well, I do anyway.
Look, when this first came out with Ed Snowden, and Google were being accused, and Microsoft and Yahoo, and all the large companies were being accused of voluntarily passing the information to the NSA, and they were all coming out saying, "Oh no, we weren't," and they were having D notices and non-disclosure clauses put in to say you can't discuss this and you can't release your information.
Yeah.
So who gives it? Nobody cares whether it's the companies that are doing it. The fact should be
it's happening
on the forefront of everyone's mind, is irrespective of who's doing it. It is being done.
It's almost like a couple of months or a couple of weeks ago. I think we didn't actually talk about it on my show, but there was a story that came out from Facebook of Our Crap Don't Stink, Honest, where they were going, oh, look, from X amount of governments that were asking for certain pieces of information, blah, blah, blah. We only gave away this amount in the first quarter or the last quarter, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, and everyone's like reporting it and going, oh, isn't that great that, actually, there is a procedure involved to stop willy-nilly information. And I was reading that information and listening to the news, and I was coming to the other conclusion of, well, they don't have to come and ask you. They've got direct access to your servers. Yeah, they're making duplicate copies of everything that's on your servers. They don't need to ask.
What they've done by the things that they have been doing is completely trounce all belief in security online now. If they're just going to issue certificates to themselves willy-nilly, and is that another word for Bruce there, willy-nilly Bruce, they're, whenever they decide to, and just take over somebody's license certificate to say, yes, that is a secure connection, what's the point? No matter what you're doing, is going to be monitored or seen or looked into online. So any sense of security you may have possibly had, even an inkling of it in the past, is now out the window totally. So banking, no matter what you do online, waste of space trying to secure it because they already know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But you don't have to worry, because as long as you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to worry about.
Of course, and that annoys me.
That is so infuriating.
I'm a scout leader.
I would be more than happy for them to see everything that I do and have copies of whatever it is I'm doing, saying, walking, wherever I go, whatever, as long as I can have exactly the same back from you. It should be like for like. If you want all that information from me, I want all that information from you, unless it's a national secret.
No. What's scary, Steve, is the fact that as a scout leader, I hear pretty much on at least once a month, well, I've got nothing to hide, I don't need to worry about it. From like 14, 15, 16-year-olds, some of my young leaders who are like 20, 21, and I'm thinking, wow, they've done an amazing job to teach you that, don't worry, my life is an open book. You can listen and watch and do everything you want. And don't question, only question the people who actually want privacy, as if it's so cheap. It has no meaning. It has no value to actually have privacy in the world anymore. And it just scares me how far we've come down this rabbit hole of discovery. That's all.
Well, it's got to the point now where you can't expect privacy for anything. It's and what the thing that annoys me is they expect all their privacy. They wouldn't want any information that they would like to keep secret or not known to the general public. They would fight hammer and tong to keep that secret. And yet for us, no, you've got to be a totally open book, I'm afraid. No, that's not on. It should work both ways. You want all the information you want from me, then I want the equivalent back from you. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait a second, guys. Let's see who called in. Hello.
Hi, this is Eric. How you guys doing?
Hi, Eric.
Good. I have a computer at the office that is having a problem that it's having like a video ghost shadow effect, and the bottom of some of the windows, the rendering of the images is cut off. And I was trying to see if you thought that has something to do with video card, or is that something with any type of settings that need to be adjusted?
I don't know that it's a setting, but it could be the video card, could be a video driver, it could be a Windows update.
Okay.
I mean, did it happen out of the blue, or you...
I want to say that it happened on this last patch of Windows. So can you go back to like a
yes, you can
restore to a
what operating system are you running?
This is Windows 7 Pro.
Yeah, you can go to the Windows updates, and on the left side click on view history or something like that of updates, and then you can sort them by date and start uninstalling each one that has the date of whenever you did it, the latest ones.
Okay.
That would be the first thing that I would do instead of messing up other stuff, because if that's not it, it's just going to take a few minutes to get all these updates back. But see if that does it. Now, go again and explain again what is the actual thing that you're seeing.
So, like, when you go to switch between windows and drag windows, you'll see, like, it has, like, a shadow effect as you're dragging, and sometimes the border of the windows will actually sit out there on the screen, and so you can't really, until you clear back to the desktop and reopen a window, you can't get them off.
Oh no, that happens all the time. But that doesn't hinder you from actually doing what you're trying to do, does it?
Well, not so much. And then there are some windows that the bottom, I guess it's the bottom 10%, is not visible. So
wait a second. Not visible as in like below the monitor's border, or
no, it's in the window. It's not below the monitor.
But it's not.
And right. So like if you had a page and you try to scroll all the way down,
right?
It cuts off, and then I thought, well, maybe I need to change the resolution of the screen. It's I think it's like 1980 by something. It's one of these wide screens, but that didn't fix it either. So,
but let me ask you this. Let me ask you, when you're looking at that window that you are scrolling in, is the bottom 10% white?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
And are we talking about a browser, or are we talking about Microsoft Word?
This is in browser.
Okay. That is strange.
Yeah.
That does sound like something with the driver or the card. Mike?
No, I mean it could be any of the above. It's process of elimination.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Do you have a second monitor you can try to make sure it's not a monitor issue?
Well, actually, it has a dual monitor card in there. It's a DVI and VGA, and then I also played around with. Normally, we run both monitors connected simultaneously, and then I went and disabled the VGA and just tried the DVI, and vice versa, and that still didn't cure it. So I thought, well, maybe there's a conflict with running the two monitors. So, do you know? Obviously, I can call Tiger Direct. I purchased this about 6 months ago from those guys. It's an HP And do you know, do they do warranty work there, or is this something that once you buy it, you got to deal with?
You bought it
the
where?
Manufacturer. This is a Tiger Direct, an HP computer. It's about 6 months old.
They've got a warranty. You just need to see what it is. But I mean, you kind of need to isolate it first a little bit more. The last time I had a problem that appeared to be similar to this, in fact, the computer is still here. It was a bad video card. Unfortunately, it was a laptop, and the video card's built onto the motherboard. HP had already replaced the motherboard for $675 once, and after that, the guy decided to throw it in the trash can.
Okay.
So just do a little bit more troubleshooting. It sounds like it's not the monitor. One of the things that you can do is go into Device Manager, remove the video driver, let it reinstall the video driver automatically. Make sure that you have the latest update for the video driver for that particular video card. Do everything that you can do within your power. And once you've, by process of elimination, you may find out you have a bad card.
Okay. No, another question that I have, I do a good amount of traveling, and I'm, I guess, the self-anointed IT person in the office, and we just have six PCs, but people constantly aren't doing the updates, and even though it's set on auto update and virus scans and things like that, and I think that we may have gotten hit in the network with malware or something, because we had some major issues. So I went and scanned all the computers and found some issues. But is there something for a network of, let's say, 6 computers, and we mostly use it just for file sharing of Word and Excel documents? Do you think, is it necessary to go out and get a server and try to push out updates through a server, or is there some type of remote tool like Log Me In or something that I can access when I'm not in the office and make sure that all the computers are up to date with patches and antivirus and so forth?
You may get a variety of answers to that question here. I've been in that situation, and unless you really want to spend your time being a network administrator, staying on top of everything, learning new and different ways to do things and spending the money, I don't think 6 PCs is worth setting up a networked environment in terms of having a server, particularly if you're not planning to run your own mail server, which is one of the best benefits of running your own server. In my opinion, if you will use some good operating techniques, and for example, if you're having a problem with malware in your office, there is a paid version of Malware Bytes that runs resident on your computer. Also, Microsoft Security Essentials has a resident program to watch for malware. I certainly would have one or the other of those two running, not both, but you can run Malware Bytes on demand as well. As far as the server, the file server itself, I don't know how you would get malware on it unless you are using that computer from the keyboard. If you're just using it as a file server, whereas you may get malware located on the drive, it should not be activated on that computer unless somebody has clicked on something. It's an in-between, and again, if you said to me it's a law office and it's a critical thing, then certainly I could suggest that you just throw out what I just said and consider getting a server, but be prepared to pay for it or to learn how to do it. Gene is suggesting that you... Sorry?
Well, for our mail, we use Google Apps, so all the mail's in the cloud, so we don't have our own mail server. And
Google Apps is good about spam as well as watching for malware. I mean, it's another line of defense. Gene suggests that you use TeamViewer, which we use all the time. It's teamviewer.com. It is an excellent program for logging into your computer. Depending on which computer you have, you may also be able to use remote desktop connection to log into it, which is a secure tunnel, if you don't mind going through the procedure to set it up and, again, to learn how to use it.
Now, without a full-blown network setup, like with the domains and so forth, at the local level of the PC, can you set up alerts with Malwarebytes and an antivirus that if a PC is compromised, that it'll send out an email message to someone that says, hey, this is we the PC got infected, or this is.
I'm pretty sure that Malwarebytes paid version offers that. I'm not sure. I've only installed the paid version one time. After doing that, the number of instances that I get calls from this guy has gone way, way down. I do not have it set up to email. I just don't recall at the moment whether it has that built in, but it probably does.
Lee, were you trying to say something before?
I'm sure that the answer that the question I'm hearing is there obviously needs to be a defense to get in and to manage it. I was just going to ask, do you have like an old computer lying around that you could possibly use to manage a firewall type scenario and to manage that kind of network, but what you're trying to achieve here? Do you have an old desktop lying about in the office?
I do actually have an old, it's a Windows 2003 server that we actually had a big problem with it, that was compromised, and we found backdoor viruses and Trojans and so forth. So, that box is just needs to be reformatted, and I don't know what operating system that you would suggest to use on that, because I know the problem with 2003, of course, is that Microsoft, I believe they no longer send out security patches, or can you pull them manually? But that was another concern, that since that's basically out of life cycle, that one is
XP's out of the question now, isn't it? They've finally given a date and are sticking to it this time for updates.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't matter. The point is, I'm going to have fun here. You're like this, Steve. Hold on. What I would like you to do with that Windows Server machine is to install Linux on it. Now, sorry, right? Calm it down, people. There's a piece of software that I know of, and I've been looking into it to have set up my own network here, and I've been dibbing and dabbing whether or not I'm going to do it myself. There's the disclaimer. However, there's something called untangle.com. Now, untangle.com does allow you to have remote access and to dial in, as it were, and to do everything else. It's open source, but there's also a paid version if you actually want to buy their lovely, pretty box. But you can download it from their website, the whole operating system for a small office like yourself. From what you've said, that could be a very nice answer to your question.
So, I'm sorry, is Untangled a version of Linux, or is that an application that you run on Linux?
It's actually a bit of both. I believe it's what I can gather from my research is that it's based on it's an operating system of Linux that has been specifically designed to protect you and act as a firewall and everything else, and keep a check on malware and that kind of thing on your network. So that may be something. And they've literally, I'm looking at the website now, they've literally just launched Untangle 10.0. Know more about your network traffic than the NSA is their tagline. So quite frankly, that could be a good option.
Brilliant
tagline. From what you see, the shots on that you're looking at, does it look like it has a good GUI interface? And
yeah.
Because I have a little bit of experience with Ubuntu, and that seemed to be pretty user friendly for someone that really doesn't know Linux.
It definitely has. It definitely has. This is I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. I do need a GUI to do it. And from what I've seen from screenshots, in fact, it was from the guys from Jupiter Broadcasting. I'll give them a shout out. That on their Linux Action Show were the ones that keep mentioning it as a sponsor there, and that's what got my interest about it. But they do provide a free version, and then if you go higher than that, then or you actually want to purchase the network box, as it were, then you obviously go down the paid route. But for free, you're getting virus checkers and blockers, firewall, the works. That could be an option for you. And ironic.
Okay, I appreciate it.
There's one other option too.
Go ahead.
There's one other option, and I am not speaking from experience, but I am speaking sincerely, and that is that these little Mac Mini servers, for like $1,000, you can get a Mac Mini server that really is a Unix-based server with cartoon interface that you can put a nice drive on it, shares, it integrates nicely with Windows networking, and it does provide an additional level of security in that it would not be responsive to the same sort of malware that the Windows computers would be responsive to. And from what I can tell, I mean, it's a nice, small, efficient little box. From what I can tell, it's a viable option for a server, for a small office, for a file server.
Okay, good. All right, well, maybe I'll play around with, look at the Untangled and look at some of these, see how that works, and I'll let you know how, if we put it in production, I'll let you know how it works out.
Awesome. Well, keep in mind now, Steve Lee, who is a regular here and really knows his stuff, he's not happy with Untangle. He's uninstalled it all. So there are differing opinions here, and that's fine. But just do your homework and decide what's good for you and what you don't like.
Okay. Well, I looked at, tell me, does anyone know anything about, there was something called Windows Home Server that was put out a couple years ago that never really got traction from Microsoft, and a friend of mine told me it's garbage. But is anyone familiar with that one?
I wish Spence was here because I think he's still using it. I've got it, and it's on the floor. I never really...
Yeah.
But
I think it was 2011. It was supposed to take some elements of Server 2008 and I guess make it user friendly for a small home office application.
Yeah, look into that little Mac Mini server if you're looking for something that's kind of creative.
Okay. One last question, if I may. I have a Galaxy phone, and I'm wondering what photo backup and sharing service do you suggest? If I think there might be something through Google, and there's Photo Bucket, I guess Snapfish, some of these others. You guys, is there anyone in particular that you suggest to link up and sync photos and give you a good amount of storage?
Is it to back up, or is it to actually publish, as it were, on a service?
Well, I guess I'm thinking twofold, that maybe I want to look at two options. That one just for a backup, and then in order to publish for friends and family, and that can look at pictures. So I don't know if I have to set up kind of two different syncs.
You might do. Obviously, the easiest option to most people, but they've had issues recently, is Dropbox. If you've got a Dropbox account, you can easily do that. There are other options for syncing. But if it's for a backup, then obviously there's Spider Oak, I think it is, which do Windows as well, which are also have an Android app. But it really does depend on. There may be a two-step situation if you do want to expose certain photos that you're doing to a wider audience, but then also having a syncing backing up service as two answers there.
Well, these other services like Shutterfly and Photo Bucket, are they mostly in the business of you can put back up your photos there, but they're really looking more to to make their print service that once you find photos you like that they want to print them and ship them to you.
Exactly.
Is that how they...
Exactly. That's the reason why the suggestions that I'm going for, it's more of a traditional backup syncing service, so that you are still having control. There's no like upsell in that respect. You own your content. It is just a service that is backing up off-site into the cloud. Bunny Floppy is. So, that's where I would go, and then you can. Because the downside of having everything automated is that sometimes there's certain photos you don't really want to send out or share. So I'm just being told in the back end Skype chat with my co-host Ben, he's saying that he uses an app called Sync Me that backs up to his share account. So that could be another option.
Okay.
To check out, and that's one word.
Okay. And the other one that you mentioned was Spider Oak?
Spider Oak.
Okay.
Good.
Great. Well, I'll look into those. Okay, thanks so much, guys.
Eric,
I appreciate all the good advice.
I hope we helped confuse you far enough.
Well, I think we covered a good amount of ground, so I'm sure that something will work here. Okay.
All
Thanks
right.
so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra. Oh, I may have been helpful there. Oh.
Here's the guy that
please
Mike.
do. Please do.
Mike, here's the guy, and Mike is saying, unless you want to become a full-time system administrator. What did you tell him, Mike?
Well, it's a lot of work.
I know.
You've got a lot,
and here
you've got a lot
comes Lee and tells him to install Linux on top of it.
Well, no,
I mean,
the reason
you know,
for that.
That may be
Sorry.
something he should do.
No, I mean, no, it will work. I agree 100%, Lee, but it depends how much.
I took a network out of an office. A certain person sold these guys a network and had some pretty serious costs for maintaining that network for them. And I was over there talking to them one day, and they asked me, they said, well, what benefit are we getting by having this network? And I couldn't think of any, so we took it all out. They went to a complete peer-to-peer network, only about 5 computers, and it has worked extremely well for them. All they really needed was a file server to jointly share and back up files.
Yeah. But it really does depend on the situation. And I think having resellers going in there from Microsoft or certain types of Linux-based operating systems, etc., going in there, obviously they're just looking at their commission and trying to sell as much as possible. And
I'm not joking about this Apple mini server. I think it's one of the smartest things they've done.
But the only reason why I think Untangle is an option, at least, is because I've got a computer that's sitting here doing nothing. It's old, but it will do the certain things that this it gives you at least a line of defense for a situation that you have got. Obviously, at home, it's going after a fly with a bazooka, but in a small office where you're not ready to go for the big boy enterprise end stuff, which is way out of budget, but it may be a good starting point to then move on and build up from there. That's like I said, I'm looking at it as well for my office situation here.
Here is a change here.
Uh-oh.
26-year-old Blair McMillan has banned any technology in his house post-1986, the year he and his girlfriend Morgan were born. They're doing it because their kids, Trey 5 and Denton 2, wouldn't look up from their parents' iPhones and iPads long enough to kick a ball around the backyard. That's kind of when it hit me, because I'm like, wow. When I was a kid, I lived outside, says Blair, adding that now we're parenting our kids the same way we were parented for a year just to see what it's like. The Macmillans do their banking in person instead of online. They develop rolls of films for $20 each instead of Instagramming their son's antics. They recently traveled across the United States using paper maps and entertaining their screaming kids with coloring books and stickers, passing car after car with TVs embedded in the headrest and content infants seated in the back. Their plan is to continue living like it's 1986 until April 2014. Morgan, who admits she thought her boyfriend was crazy, now devours books to pass the time and only uses a computer at work. I remember the day before we started this. I was a wreck, and I was like, I can't believe I have to delete my Facebook. Blair originally experienced a form of phantom pain for the first few days after giving up his cell phones. The strangest thing without having a cell phone is that I could almost feel my pocket vibrating, and I wanted to check my pocket. Still, he says that the change has been good for their family spirit. We're just closer. There's more talking. I can see the good thing about this, but by the same token, kids at that age should be exposed to all the technology that's available out there. And if the parents cannot make them raise their heads from their iPhones, then it's the parents' fault. I mean, you don't let the kid eat as much as they want because you don't want them to get fat. You don't let them cross the street without looking left and right because you don't want them to get run over. Why let them do whatever they want with technology? Why completely ban it from the house? What do you guys think?
Detrimental effect, really, couldn't it? I mean, if you think about it's all well and good to restrict it to a certain extent, but to cut it out completely,
right.
To what detriment is that going to do, say, in their schooling, in their making of friends, in a keeping of friends? It's an awful lot that you need to look into.
It's to make a point.
Well, they're only 2 and 5. It's not really going to do much, is it?
Well, if you think about it, actually, just the names alone should give you some kind of hint. Trent and Denton. Who the hell calls their kids Trent or Denton?
Trey. T-R-E-Y. Trey.
That's even worse.
And the thing that I read that thing twice yesterday. 26-year-old Blair has banned any technology in the house post-1986, the year he and his girlfriend Morgan were born. And they're doing it because their kids, 5 and
2, yeah.
What is going on here?
I was listening to you and doing the math, and I'm like, wow.
Anyway,
it is crazy. But good, more power to them, because I have friends who have like started the family type thing now, like my age type thing, and a bit earlier than me.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them parent, and I have to say, I would never like step in and go, look, do you know what you're doing? But I can see from an outsider point of view exactly what they're saying. It's like it's constantly, you've always got an app that they've always got an app open on an iPad, something for their kids to play on or something or other. And it's like, surely they're not going to learn how to actually use a pen and pencil. Because obviously, when you're starting off, that's the first thing, a pack of crayons and loads of scrap paper and just scribbling everywhere. And then all of a sudden it's just pointing, and zooming in on an iPad.
There's one good thing to this, though, Lee. At least you can take the seat back and let them make all the mistakes. And then when you are ready to start your own family, you can think, I ain't doing what Ben and Sid and Fred and Harry and all those other idiots did because I've learned from their mistakes. They made all the silly moves, and I know I don't have to do those. You saved yourself an awful lot of hassle.
Exactly.
There's something called going too far.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm all for
I
restricting
respect their
children
right
having
to go
access.
too far if they choose.
But this sort of thing reminds me of there's a couple of I believe there's a woman who is living in 1940 something, and she's only like 30 something, and her whole house is 1940, and everything inside it is 1940, and she's literally a living museum. And it's like, that's amazing, but what are you trying to prove? What are you trying to do? That your entire house has been regutted to a 1940s standpoint.
She's having fun.
Oh yeah, but
is she forcing anybody else in her family to live like that, or is it just her?
I don't know. Can't. It's always her that's when they highlight. It's always her that's being interviewed, as it were.
If it's only affecting her, then fine. But if she's forcing it on somebody else's against their will, then I don't think that's right.
I'll bet you she has a cell phone.
But that's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing. And
I bet she's secretly got an inside toilet as well, hidden away under the stairs.
Oh, most definitely. That's the other thing. And like a power shower and all sorts. But it just...
And Sears doesn't print a catalog anymore, so she probably has to have toilet paper.
Oh, no. Oh, that's the downside to everything. But the point still is...
I hope Sears' catalogue wasn't glossy.
Oh, they were.
Oh, no.
Here's another one. As the NSA scandal moves from appalling to laughable, the latest report in The Guardian, boy, The Guardian is all over the news, indicates that the current NSA chief spent U.S. taxpayers' money to create a command center for his intelligence operations that was styled just like Star Trek. From the PBS NewsHour report, when he was running the Army's Intelligence and Security Command, Alexander brought many of his future allies down to Fort Belvoir for a tour of his base of operation, a facility known as the Information Dominance Center. It has been designed by a Hollywood set designer to mimic the bridge of the Starship Enterprise from Star Trek, complete with chrome panels, computer station, and huge TV monitor on the forward wall, and doors that made a whoosh sound when they slid open and closed. Lawmakers and other important officials took turns sitting in the leather captain's chair in the center of the room and watched as Alexander, a lover of science fiction movies, showed off his data tools on the big screen. Everybody wanted to sit in the chair at least once to pretend he was Jean-Luc Picard, says a retired officer in charge of VIP visit. Why was that never brought up in the news? This is not something new. Isn't that amazing?
All done at taxpayers' expense. And yet they bitch about somebody that may possibly be claiming an extra, couple of dollars a week on benefits.
Yep.
Oh, it makes me so riled. Have you heard the latest in the UK? This, about all the expense scandals for the MPs and everything, and it was perfectly okay for them to just pay that back, and then that was all okay. Or we'll just pretend it didn't happen then. There's this Director of Public Prosecutions now is trying to push forward that if somebody cheats on benefit and gets prosecuted for benefit fraud, that they get put away for 10 years. Hang on a minute. You're going to put someone away that is maybe claiming an extra few pounds a week, extra benefits over and above what they should, and yet you've got members of Parliament that are claiming £40,000 a year for their wives working, or £20,000 a year for their daughters working part-time, and claiming for their children as an expense. Mm-hmm. And yet they're okay to pay that back, and they don't get put in prison. I think something's wrong somewhere.
Steve. One thing they don't say, and I'm not agreeing with them, but one thing that they don't say is that for the last 20 years, the MPs here haven't had a pay rise. And so we're paying for 50,000. This is a stupid thing, and this is an interesting thought about it. You've got multinational companies paying stupid money for people to run on the board, right? thousands, hundreds and thousands of pounds to be sitting on a board to meet once a month or something, right? And yet we've voted for people to actually take a day in, day out approach to making very important decisions that will affect people's lives, as you're quite rightly saying. And we're only giving them £50,000, right? Now, they've gone through and they were told, and there's paperwork everywhere to prove, they were told you've got the expenses there. It's not, we will put a blind eye to the fact that you're making extra money via the expenses to actually give you a wage that, I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just saying equivalent to what we should, like CEO people are being paid. Now, it's not right or wrong. I'm not throwing that debate out there. The fact is, it annoys me that the whole picture is never discussed. And that's the reason why. And yet still, we've now got this extra £1 million sort of set up department watchdog thing to look into the expenses and make discussions and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, even they are saying that the people in Parliament need a pay rise. And yet they won't put it to the vote because no one will swallow it because of these, harsh economic times. So you're screwed then again. So why would anybody with actual decent thought, ability of a multinational company, why would you want them to actually be in Parliament? Because they're not getting paid for it. So you get the scumbags we've got now. You don't pay for, you're not paying the going rate for somebody running that sort of multinational, multi-billion-dollar or pound budgets and stuff. So you're going to get the scum that are willing to do that. And then, then we wonder why democracy's gone crap. It swings and roundabouts.
It isn't really democracy anymore, it's democracy.
Oh, here we go, right. I'm getting off my soapbox before I hunt you down, Stephen.
Well, hey, Lee, you let Steve talk now.
I'm sorry.
They're being paid, I think about the minimum is around about £80,000 a year, and that's for 5 months' work, the maximum of 5 months' work. The other 7 months of the year, they're either on holiday, they're on sabbatical, or they can do what the hell they like and be paid as lobbyists. They can be paid as advisors. I mean, is £80,000 a year not enough for you?
The going rate is £50,000. Full stop. Now, that's a lot of money, and I'm not saying it's just only, but that's £50,000. They're also required to be open surgeries for MP surgeries for X amount of time a year.
They need some surgery, that's for sure.
I agree with you on that one. But the point is that there is actually a hell of a lot of legislation saying what they can and cannot do, and it's very
which
easy.
They totally ignore. It's not like they take any notice of it, is it? It's like, well, yes, we know that legislation's there, but it doesn't suit me, so I'm not going to do it.
But
I'm an MP and I can get away with it.
Sorry, by the way, for those who are tuned in, we're talking about, this is the English hour.
Sorry.
The British hour.
I'm sorry.
It just riles me to think that they think that they're entitled to this, and we, as a general sort of Joe public on the street, may think that we may be entitled to, or, why shouldn't I be able to claim that extra £1 or £2, whatever it is? And no, absolutely not. You can't possibly even dream to imagine that you could be entitled to an extra £1 a week.
I understand that.
£37 they pay for a breakfast. The average, my weekly shop is less than £37 for a whole week shopping.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, what I'm saying, though, is that the way it was approached, the reason why I got upset was purely on the basis it's the same it wasn't a complete picture of the scenario. I agree with you on many points. It's just the fact that it wasn't a complete picture that you were painting. And that's why, at least have all the facts, and then we can have a discussion instead of cherry-picking Daily Mail styling.
Well, is that not what they do and get away with? Surely we should be entitled to cherry-pick a little bit. I mean, fine, yes, you should.
No,
perhaps
because
give
we're
a little
better
bit
than
of
that.
information.
No, because we're better than that.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Guys,
that's what I think. Sorry.
Lee, just give everybody the address of your... how to get to your show and when it is, so they can get in on the rest of that discussion.
Yeah, come and have a discussion with Lee and join in on his rant. I might even do it myself next week.
It's fine, you know. I mean, I'm sure.
Cool.
I'm sure it is fine, but you need the bad thing is that you don't get the participation from the audience because it's mainly from here. It's a shame. I mean, don't waste it on that. I mean, you need to do it.
The big problem of it is it's not only England that we're talking about. It's every country of the world. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. But dirtyboxers.net/live Monday to Friday. I've got told off now, Steve.
And when you go there, there's a schedule of when it is. I mean,
oh yeah, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, most of the time, which is 2 p.m. UK and GMT.
Good. All right, so go right along.
Join in and have a bitch.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got told off now. You made me got told off, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do a jollipies.
No, you don't. No, you.
A Louisiana high school student has been arrested for using a mobile app to simulate shooting his classmates.
Oh.
The app overlays an FPS-style gun and UI over a real background seen through the device's camera. The student tried it out and then unwisely posted a video of it on YouTube. Another student's parents saw the video and reported to authorities. Major Wolf of the local police said, "You can't ignore it. We don't know at what time that game becomes reality." He said it was a result of him being frustrated and tired of being bullied. He said that he had no intentions of hurting anybody. "We have to take all threats seriously, and we have no way of knowing that without investigating and getting to the bottom of it. With all the school shooting we've had in the United States, it's just not very good game to be playing at this time." The boy is now facing criminal charges of terrorizing and interference of an operation of a school. Now, I don't know about terrorizing and all this, but what I'd like to know is, what kind of thing is this that takes an FPL-style gun, NUI? I mean, it's made for that. It's okay. Let's see what it would be if you shot the people that you see through your camera. What sick mind comes up with something like this? It's ridiculous to even give that ability to conceive such a thing.
But why?
You're looking through the lens, you're seeing a picture, and then you can lay a gun and UI on it and use the gun to shoot. I mean, come on.
But that's an app.
I understand.
It's not real life.
I understand. I understand it's an app. But what sick mind comes up with it that you can just take anybody and bring them up on a screen and simulate shooting them? That's kind of sick. It's got to take somebody who's got a problem. And yes, kids will play it.
I can't understand why. What the problem is, Amnon? What?
The problem is that kids do take it and play. Look, that kid got in trouble now. Now, whether or not it's justified or not, we probably will never know, because maybe that kid had no intentions of doing anything, or maybe that kid was that close to do it for real, and he just wanted to see what it is. We'll never know. The point is, he wouldn't have been in this mess if that app did not exist.
Is it not like violent games, though? Hasn't there been enough investigations and research into the fact that playing violent games produces violent children and stuff like that?
Well, yeah,
it's been debunked so many times, isn't it?
But you can argue. But you can argue that, and there's violent. I mean, when you take a game and you go and you shoot at zombies, and okay. But when you actually can hold your phone up and see your classmates right there in whatever they're doing right now, and pretend that you're shooting them, that's a little bit too much. Whoops. Nick tried to call and got disconnected, I guess.
You see,
you need to be in such a sad state of affairs if you can't distinguish shooting a zombie in a game and shooting real people.
Well, there are a lot of kids who are very impressionable.
Oh,
and I don't know. I mean, I would have never thought about putting such an app out there. Hey, let's see what it looks like if you shot your friends. Let's see what it is like if you shot your parents.
It is pretty sick.
Come on. Have a game. You want to shoot somebody? Go ahead.
This
Let's see.
this
Wait a
illustrates
second.
exactly what's wrong.
Hold it. We have the Game King right here with us. Hey, Nick.
Oh, brilliant.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Are you listening?
No, I can't. No, I'm not listening right now. No.
Oh, shoot.
Why? What happened?
Well, we were just, it's sort of like what you were talking about Friday night, but it's a different thing about this kid that used an app that overlays a gun and UI over a real background scene through the device camera.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And he got arrested for making it look like he's shooting his classmates. But anyway, so you're picking apples.
I am, and I've got 5 bars of 4G here.
Wow. So where are you? By the way, everybody, this is Nick Craig of RadarGaming.net, and Nick has a weekly show on Friday evening, 7 Eastern. So where are you?
Just I don't know, a few miles outside of Albany right now.
Oh. Having fun?
Yeah, we just got here. It's a little cold.
And you sound good, and you're not on video.
No, I'm not.
Oh. So what
I tried
else?
calling in on Skype, and it declined my call. I'm not sure if that's an issue with mobile.
It's probably an issue with Amnon.
I don't know why.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder if you can only do one mobile Skype call by itself. You can't have anybody else on the line. I'm not sure.
Interesting. So yeah, we were talking about this, and that what sick mind will actually create. You remember we were talking about gamers and the shooter.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say something that you're not going to like.
Yeah. That's fine.
It is very clear and well established and axiomatic that many people are affected by the power of suggestion.
Yeah.
If it were not so, there would be no such thing as advertising. There would be no such thing as churches. There would be no such thing as schools. People do respond to the power of suggestion. What that means is, the question is, can a video game influence someone to do something stupid? And, hear me out, the answer to the question is yes, it can influence a low information voter to go out and do something stupid. However, I don't see that they're any worse than the movies and the TV shows and the things that they are bombarded with day in, day out, such that I don't think that the games need to be singled out.
Yeah, I mean, when you say it, anything can influence anything,
Right.
anybody. TV shows, movies, that they can all influence anybody.
I'm just trying to work out why the developers are sick in this particular case, Amnon. That's the bit that
you got to have a sick mind in order to come up with an app that's actually allows you to point a gun at somebody that you're looking at. It's one thing to do it in a game and you go after zombies and after fictitious, unreal images. But here, you are looking through your lens. You are seeing the people standing in front of you, real people, and you're pointing a gun and you're shooting.
Now, there's been apps like this in the past. There's been apps that do similar things with explosions and tornadoes and other stuff like that. I mean, this isn't the first time something like this has been done.
All right, I never heard of such, but I saw this and I say, God, what
it just
else?
shows that the guy that writes the code has no morals, has no ethics, and is just out to make a fast buck at whatever cost.
I think personally, the reason why I'm hung up on this is because there was a 7-year-old boy like in February, March time, that I spoken about on my show, who was at a breakfast club and was suspended from school because at 7 he had bitten, like, I think it was like a Pop-Tart or something, into the shape of a gun and was just going bang, bang, bang with his friends around the breakfast table at school, and he was suspended from school. Now, you know, that's just that is a pasty or a Pop-Tart shaped as a gun.
Kids
now,
will
this
play.
One, but this is, and that's like a knee-jerk reaction on that particular front, and he's got it on his record and stuff like that at 7 years old. Now, what I'm getting hung up on this one is that you've got the shape of a phone going round. I know it's got live video and you're like, it's basic sound effects going bang, bang, bang. But why is that so horrific when, you know, you've also got hundreds of other kids being suspended from school from just doing basic stuff?
Because in my and I'm a gun user, and one of the main rules is you don't point the gun at somebody unless you mean to shoot them. That's the what?
Under any circumstances. In fact,
correct.
They teach you very clearly in the gun training class.
I mean,
that if you point a gun at someone, justified or otherwise, if you point a gun at someone, your life changes.
Oh yeah.
And when you are shooting, when you are pointing it at images in a game, it's one thing. When you're pointing at a real person that you see every day, and you actually shot them, and you feel like, oh, okay, I already done it. Nothing happened to him. You don't know. I mean, it leaves bad taste in my mouth to think that a kid can do this, or that anybody can do this, and say, let's see what it'd be like to shoot my mom.
But
I think we should blame Apple for letting that app in the App Store, right? I mean, is that an appropriate app to allow in the App Store?
It happens.
But we talk about these strict guidelines and how Apple's got all this stuff locked down, yet they allow an app like this in their App Store. I mean, what does that say?
I don't know if
they don't really care. It's all about the money for them. I mean,
or is it Android? Sure. Which platform are we talking about? I don't think we've discussed that bit yet.
It's just a sorry path that we're leading down. We're all being wrapped up in cotton wool, and people aren't allowed to make their own decision anymore. Yes, it's a bad decision. Yes, morally, it's a stupid thing to do. But we're allowing the government and people in charge to say, oh, no, we want to shield you from that because that's not good. And we need to wrap up in cotton wool because life isn't really that sad. And we're all winners. There's no losers. There's only some people that come in either first or you come in second. It's insane. You know, you got a winner and a loser.
Yeah. I'm baffled because obviously I grew up playing like cops and robbers and like, you know,
you were
cowboys
John
and
Wayne,
Indians. Oh, yeah, once in a while. And all that
Get
kind
off
of...
your horse and drink your milk.
Because that was amazing, Steve.
It's just again, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's good that other people think another way. I'm not saying that you're stupid for believing in it, that it's not sick. It's your opinion, which is fine. That's what makes it nice to be able to talk about this.
It just doesn't seem to make any sense. I'm sure we've all played with like making gun shapes with our hands, bang bang bang, around the playground. We've all done it. And yet now this generation's being grown up, and it's like literally week in, week out, a new story about another 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old is being suspended or disciplined for school because they did a thing involving a shape of a gun or something involving a gun.
We're living in a terror generation, isn't it? You even hint at something that could be deemed as slightly being terroristic, and that's all of a sudden that's it. We're going to
wait a second. And Nick.
Yes, hello.
When you're not talking, can you cover the mic on the phone?
You have a mute button.
No, well, he's holding a phone in his hand to go.
I know, but he's got a mute button.
No.
Okay, I will.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Lee.
No, so all I'm saying, though, is that we it just seems unfortunate now that any sort of gun-related thing, be it eating a Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun or running around cops and robbers with your hands shape of guns, anything involving school, automatically suspended, automatically disciplined, automatically this, that, and the other. And there is no common sense there. Now, I'm not a gun user, but, I respect the fact that I'm in a different country and I have different rules, to live by in this country to the US. But I respect the fact that you've got different rules about gun, ownership and stuff like that, which is fine. But it just seems strange to me that it's now going down this route that it's a red flag that this is going to be trouble, purely on the basis of one incident. That's what it seems crazy to me.
I don't know that we have different rules. I don't think we have different rules about guns anywhere in the world.
It was so funny
as far as the usage.
Joe DeMax spent a month in the United States. We asked him, Joe, what were you most impressed with about the United States? You know what the first thing he said was? They sell guns in Walmart.
Oh, yeah, that is a bit of an eye-opener. That is crazy. To walk into an Asda equivalent and go, wow, there's guns on aisle 9. That's crazy.
It's like I'll have a blob of cheddar cheese, some rolls, some butter. Oh, and I'll have a PP7, please, or whatever it's called, PPK.
Yeah, that is crazy. But it's
an
eye opener.
Ammunition for that? No, I'll eat it here.
It is scary, but I think we're all being dumbed down to the point where it's gone from the point of being that really isn't acceptable to virtually nothing being acceptable anymore,
no,
and you being jumped on for the
being...
least little thing.
I mean,
we're not all being dumbed down.
I mean, do I think that arresting that kid is a good idea? No, come on, arresting, but. Something, maybe the parents should have been talked to about this. Maybe it should be mentioned, and maybe somebody should talk to whatever store he got it from, if it's the iTunes or the Play Store or whatever, and say, look, guys, this is, and let everybody else get in on it. But it should not just be forgotten, because what would happen next is that kid would do something and somebody would come up and say, oh, yeah, he was playing all these games. And here again, the gamers. And Nick had a very good point on Friday night where he said, what percentage of gamers are there in the world?
Yeah.
And Nick, I don't remember the numbers, but it was high. So what do we do? He said, do we just arrest all these people, or we condemn them because they're gamers, or we watch them because they may shoot us? Come on.
See, I think with that logic, during my show, I read a study that 70% of the people in the world play some sort of video game. Yeah. So now you've got to monitor watch 70% of the world's population. Explain to me how that works.
NSA's doing that.
Exactly.
The unfortunate thing is we're letting somebody else say what is offensive and what isn't offensive. I mean, an offensive thing is something that, to a degree, is reasonably unique. I mean, fine, we may have a large majority of people who would be offended by certain actions and certain things that people do, but it doesn't mean to say the whole of the population needs to take offence. And I don't want somebody else taking offence on my behalf. If I want to take offence, let me take offence. Don't you make the decision that I'm offended.
Right.
Can I make an equivalent suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Or an example, and then unfortunately I've got to dash, lads. And basically, this smacks so much like Stranger Danger, which is the American equivalent to what we had over here. Just Say No was the campaign over here. Concerning, obviously, think of the children, worry about the children, and obviously don't go with a stranger, blah, blah, blah. Because it was deemed that if a stranger comes up to a kid, it was very likely that they were going to be the ones that are going to be causing mischief and bad things to happen to the kid. Turns out, finally, through information and actually looking at the facts, it turns out more likely harm is going to come to the child from someone they know and not stranger danger. Yet, it just seems like you're teaching kids one thing when actually to actually protect them, it's something entirely different. And it kind of smacks to me that this whole gun knee-jerk reaction thing that's spiraling out of control, involving kids just playing, suddenly earmarking them as trouble straight away when they haven't even they don't even know what on earth they're doing most of the time. Let's be fair, they're just playing like we all did back in the day. It just seems, that we're going down a route of craziness to somehow protect something I don't know if we even know what we're trying to protect anymore, because we've gone down this rabbit hole so far that we're the starting point of where we were is miles away. I can't even see it on the horizon that we're trying to protect from it.
It's overprotection, isn't it, for the sake of protection?
Yeah, which is a sad state of affairs, but there you go. That's my 2 cents.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah?
So we're talking about playing games.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took a gun and put blanks in it and gave it to a kid and say, go play, is that okay?
But no, hold on.
Giving a gun to a child and saying go play is not okay, whether it's loaded or unloaded.
No,
no
I
one's
mean,
saying that. Are they? No one's saying to do that, are they?
Well, this is what that app is doing.
No, it's not. No, I'm afraid I will have to agree to disagree on that.
Okay,
I don't think it is.
You could carve a gun out of wood to make it look like a gun, but there's no way it's going to fire a bullet. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can. It's like apples and oranges. You can't compare the two. A real gun,
there have been,
even with blanks.
Wait, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, there have been gun apps since the age of the smartphone. I mean, that was talk about like the first like entertainment recreation apps. Those were those. These apps where you would select a gun, click the screen, and it does some animation and makes a sound. I mean, that's not a new concept. That's something that's very old in terms of apps and whatnot.
And even before then, in the 50s, when you've got toy guns that are going around with that rattle thing going on, and the sparks on the side and stuff, as a plastic toy. It's exactly the same, just digitized now. I totally agree with Nick there.
You could equate it to saying, is it a phone, is it a gun, is it a small cardboard box with a picture on it?
Yeah.
One's a gun, one isn't.
Yeah.
True.
And I think it's unfair.
If your imagination is that sad that you really think that gun could cause that much of a problem, then I think you really need to take a step back and think, look at reality.
I think it's sad that it's obvious, and I'm going to try and word this carefully. It's sad that we don't even trust our own kids to know the difference between play and then practicing terrorism for later on in life. Now, you know what I mean? It's just...
It's because we're not taking the time to teach them that.
Well, that's another aspect, isn't it? We're not taking the time to even converse with children these days. We're all doing it via tweets, and 9 times out of 10, you've no idea who else is in the house, let alone who's there for dinner that day, if you're going to sit down for dinner. Society as a whole is just going off on its own, doing its own little thing. Nobody knows anything or gives a monkeys about anybody else these days.
And there's probably a lot of families that the kid is playing Grand Theft Auto. Great. Now we can sit and watch TV, which is a lot of parents are like that, which is fine. But if it's the wrong kid,
and fingers crossed he'll go out and
then there
bring
is
us
a
back real sports
possibility.
car.
There is a possibility. It just makes it more attractive. More. Oh yeah, there's nothing to it. I mean, I don't know.
No,
I can go both ways on that.
From what you've just said, Amnon, it's like that's not that. Grand Theft Auto is what, a 15, 18 game? What really is the problem is the fact that parents are being lazy and not putting strict rules. Okay, this game is rated 12 for a reason, or 15 for a reason. And they're disregarding that entirely. But they wouldn't disregard that entirely if it was a film, necessarily. They actually, I can't take, young Jimmy who's 5 to a 12 or 12A rating film.
Right.
People would stop you and go, no, that it's not allowed. That it's a 12 for a reason.
You could go and rent the DVD and sit him down in front of it and let him watch it all day long.
No, you could, but I don't think people do as much because they respect it a bit more. What's harm is going to happen if you've got a game that's rated 15? It's just a game. What harm could, you know what I mean? It's like, if any part of this is the true debate about it, is the rating of a game and respecting that compared to peer pressure. Oh, young Jimmy needs to have, Grand Theft Auto. Oh, brilliant. Like Amnon saying, oh, brilliant, he's quiet. We can watch, the latest Tom Hanks on demand Netflix or whatever. We can, it shuts him up for a bit. That's where the problem is. Not kids playing like they've done for generations, and now suddenly because people are knee-jerky and scared on stuff, they're now, throwing the book at every gun shape or every gun game that's going on in school. That's the bit that I'm worried about. How far down this road are we going to go?
It's going to get to the point where everyone's going to jump a mile and call the police for if somebody should inadvertently say bang.
Yeah, exactly. That is the obvious way to go down. How far down do we go before it's stupidity and we need to stop it? But you've got to be safe and sorry, ain't you?
That's what Dan is saying in the chat. He says, unfortunately, in our culture, a lot of parents rely on the schools to chase their children's social behavior. Change we can believe in, I suppose. Yeah.
The final point I would say is that if anything would be amazing from this point of view, and it's a crazy point of view, but just think about all these schools going, okay, right, gun, Jimmy's done this gun thing, okay, get the police in, blah, blah, blah. If anything, to nip this in the bud, some police or local sheriff's department needs to start saying, okay, you're wasting police time now to the school. Because it's going to get to, if every single thing is being reported to the police, and now that's going to follow that young person's life all the way through as an earmark of all gun issue at school. That's the problem. Someone needs to stop it. Someone needs to go, no, it's just it's cops and robbers in the playground. Leave it alone. But anyway, lads, I need to go. So I'm sorry.
Anyway, no, don't be sorry, Lee. It's all right. I'll know next time.
Not to pick up, yeah. But have a great week, guys. Thank you very much.
No, we're ending up anyway. It's after 12.
You too, Lee. Have a good week.
Everybody have guys. Do you have anything else to say, Steve?
No. It's just use your common sense for goodness' sake, because everybody has it. Just don't forget you've got it.
Yeah. Nick. Hello, Nick. Uh-oh, we can't hear him.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here. Hello.
We're gonna end the show. Did you want to add anything?
No, just have a good weekend, everybody.
What time are you gonna be back?
I don't know. Later tonight.
Pick up a lot of apples. Don't eat any.
I'm trying.
Don't eat any.
I can't eat them, so it doesn't matter.
No. All right.
Don't eat the ones with the brown spots on.
All righty. Bye, guys. Have a good week.
All right. Take care. You too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right. Well, Mike, anything you want to add? You're muted.
I hate it when that happens. Remind people to pay attention to your Vietnam show that needs a lot more publicity.
Is it this? Yeah, it is this Wednesday, right?
Yeah, and it's not on the Roku app, so you need to get Nick to fix that.
It is not.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
This show is an important part of history. It's getting a perspective on the Vietnam War that a lot of younger people will never have, and will never get from textbooks. They're getting it from the horse's mouth. This, I think, is a very important show on the internet. And again, we're talking about niche programming. It's very much a niche program that would never make it on the mainstream media, on the major networks. When is the show, Amnon? What time?
It's Wednesday. It's second and fourth Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 Eastern. And you can
replays are available.
And do I?
Replays are available. Go to NissanCommunications.com. You'll see a list of the shows there.
Right.
You will see the link for this particular show. It is phenomenal. The guys doing the show are not professional broadcasters. They lived through the Vietnam War. They were leaders in the Vietnam War. This is the truth, and this is what needs to be said.
Yep. Eye opener. So yeah, it's this Wednesday is the 4th.
And they welcome your calls.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to say good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9. But you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook. Tonight at 8, is Carrie Psychic Cafe. Carrie will entertain us with psychic readings. See you all there.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays, 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.